This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
Hey, it's Big O. Protect your home the way we do with Sloman's Home Security, folks. And if you want some great news, how about this? A free doorbell camera. That's right. The first 40 Big O listeners who dial 1-800-ALARM-ME will get this limited time offer of a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your smartphone with installation of your Sloman's Shield. And that's not all, folks. Sloman's is going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. So you're getting an LED touchscreen pad, a motion detector, 3 arm doors, and backup battery. Plus, if you're one of the first 40 Big O listeners to call 1-800-ALARM-ME, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman's Shield. Keep your family safe like we do here in the Alzigari family. Call 1-800-ALARM-ME. That's 1-800-ALARM-ME.
South Florida's premier law enforcement agency is now hiring individuals like you. The Fort Lauderdale Police Department is now accepting applications for non-certified and certified police officer positions. Minimum requirements and qualifications can be found at flpdjobs.com. That's flpdjobs.com. Are you ready? The city of Fort Lauderdale is an equal opportunity employer. For over 25 years, South Floridians have counted on Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises for their roofing needs. In South Florida, we battle the sweltering heat, rain, winds, and all kinds of tropical storms. That's why when it comes to protecting your family, home, or business, call Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises.com. 954-735-9826 or 954-394-1411 and ask to speak to Tommy, the owner. They specialize in all kinds of roofs. All work fully guaranteed with the customer's complete satisfaction. A+ rated member of the Better Business Bureau. Licensed and insured. There's no buts about it. When your roof needs repair or replacement, go to TommyBButtsJrEnterprises.com. A certified whitening contractor.
This is the Big O Show.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
It's the Big O Show. You're tuned in to the hottest sports radio.
When you need your warehouse looking good while staying efficient, there's only one place to find the finest racks in the business. Pallet Rack City in Hialeah. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. Pallet Rack City is the company you need when you want your warehouse sporting the finest racks in the business. After all, who doesn't love a great rack? Pallet Rack City. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547.
Orlando, aka the Big O. He covers all the South Florida teams.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Dolphins to the Heat, well, you know what I mean. Monday to Friday, Fly Pablo in the...
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Show O's on the radio, the top's where we gonna go, Miami, that's the way we roll.
Folks, you can support the hardest working sports talk show in South Florida through Cash App or Venmo. Just search Cash Big O Show. Support us through Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show. We thank you for your incredible support.
On the morning show, Big O, no one has a similar show. Talk sports, talk plays, talk...
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Live and direct, because nobody do it better than Big O in the set. From sunrise, listen live.
When you're ready to purchase a new home or refinance the one you have, American Dream Lending will make sure your loan experience is easy with fast approvals and quick closings. With many loan programs and competitive rates, now is the time to turn your dreams into reality. Ask about special financing for veterans. They never charge an application fee, and you will work directly with one of their experienced loan professionals. Stop dreaming and contact American Dream Lending today, 786-802-1727, or online at adreamlending.com. The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty, boys and girls, welcome aboard to the program on a beautiful Tuesday, a refreshing Tuesday, because it's a new start, right? It's a new start for the Miami Dolphins, new direction. So we will now look forward to what's going to happen and what are the new ways and new directions that this team is going to go in. I'm looking forward to it. So this is, for me personally, you know, I see a lot of Dolphin fans that are, you know, frustrated and pissed off and, I don't know, yelling at the top of every building and mountain and bridge in the entire world. And then I see some that, you know, are maybe like the move. You know what I'm saying? So, look, it's sports. And in sports, we're going to choose a side. You know what I'm saying? I would hope that no matter what side you're on, you're really, what you want is for the Dolphins to win. You know, I always trip out with the Dolphins. Oh, I'm done with them. It's like, you're full of crap. You know, you can be frustrated. You can be whatever. You're going to be back next year and you're going to be watching and you're going to be, you know, sending in texts and tweets and posting stuff, and you'll be buying shirts and hats and seats and watching on the tube and gathering with your friends and family members all over the world to watch, you know, your favorite football team. That's just the way it is, you know? It's this whole thing that, this anger that builds up, and then we start to also create these narratives that are not true. And so these are the things that drive us to either like or dislike what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And we've got plenty of that going on. So I know that this is a frustrating time for some. For some of us, like myself, I am actually now, reinvigorated because I feel that the Dolphins actually have some talent on this team now, and they're young. And as I've spoken before about this, okay, and I know that what's happened and what's translated in the last, couple of days here, we've added some more new followers and all that kind of stuff. And I've talked about this, okay? And I think that people sometimes we're caught in the moment and we don't take a step back and look at it. And the reason why I'm excited about this is because, living a life as a Dolphins fan and my entire life, and especially when I look at what's happened over the last 25 years and the regrets I have as a Dolphins fan, it's not just 62-7 for Marino, but it's watching Jason Taylor and Sam Madison and Pat Surtain and Zach Thomas and Tim Bowens get old before my eyes because you couldn't figure out the offense. And whether it's Jones at safety or Cam at defensive end or Paul Soliai at tackle or, different players that came after that wave that I talked about, I watched Cam Wake and company get old and not get an opportunity at doing anything. And the direction that they were going in, you were going to watch Javon Holland get old on you and Jalen Phillips and all that. And you're not hitting on these picks to then all of a sudden, you're stuck because for 3 years this clown can't figure out the offense. And you have to look around going, okay, well, he doesn't understand what we need to do on offense. And this is the thing that we've talked about in the past, that the sad part for us as Dolphin fans is that a lot of the coaches that we've ended up with are like half a coach or a third of a coach. They only know one part of the football. They don't really know how to resolve the other part. Dave Wannstedt was handed a defense and he even added to that defense, but he really, and he tried on offense because he did add Chambers and he added Conrad, but he never really got to get the offense over the hump that they needed, because Randy McMichael is a good player. So there were good players that he got on offense, but it wasn't enough of an offense to get over the top with the quarterback and everything else. And we went through the same phase after that, and I did not want to go through this again. And so I'm glad that this change was made. I think this is the right move now for the Miami Dolphins. This is the one that kind of recalibrates it. And if you get the right offensive person, if you get the right head coach, which is what I've been talking about, that knows how to build a staff, he's going to get a great defensive coordinator for you. So your defense will be fine. But you've got to fix the offense. You've got to understand the talent you have and know how to use it. And then you've got to know how to maximize it. And that's something that, unfortunately, Flo did not know how to do and could not get him over the top. So these changes had to be made. They had to be made. So I'm glad that they made them. And so some of you out there, I know, and we'll have to, time will answer all, man. Time will answer all that if this was the right move to make. Time will answer all if Greer and company is the right front office. Time will answer all if Tua is the right quarterback or not. All of this will be answered. You know what I mean? And we're just going to have to go through it. And whether you believe in what's going on or you don't believe what's going on, what's the difference? Either way, we all want the same thing. So if you don't believe what's going on, what are you going to do? Root against it? You're not going to do that, right? Because then you're really not a fan. The person that says, oh, I'm done with them, then you're really not. If you really are done with them, then you really aren't a fan. Okay? There are people in Detroit hanging on for 70 years. So, the Browns fans have been hanging on forever. Don't make it sound like, we're the only ones that suffer. There have been others that are suffering even longer. That's kind of part of being a fan. It would be nice that the Dolphins would be more like the Heat, correct? But they're not. Okay? So everybody wants to strive to be the Heat. Right now, the Panthers are the ones that are probably closest to getting to the Heat. Actually, the Panthers are the closest to getting to a title in town. Although I really feel like this Heat team now more than ever has a shot, but we'll get into that later on. But so it's just this was a change that had to be made. All right. So to me, I'm really, really excited about all of this. And I think there's a lot of potential for this team to go forward and to be really, really good down the line. As long as you figure out the offense and you can get that line fixed and get that running game going, I think everything else falls into place. But again, I'm a Tua believer. All right. I believe with the right people around him, he can definitely be successful. Just like anybody was with Drew Brees or Bob Greasy or Chad Pennington or anybody that didn't have a strong arm, that kind of stuff, because that's like the biggest misconception out there. Oh my God, you have to have a rifle in order to succeed. No, you have to have intelligence and anticipation and ball placement and accuracy and all those kind of things. And he has all of that, but he doesn't have the skill set to overcome an incredibly bad team. If you want the quarterback just to make a really bad team a playoff team, well, that's just not enough. You want to make a Super Bowl team. So you do that by building an entire team, not just one player. And then, okay, here you go, Danny. It's all on you. We saw how that worked out. That's not what we need here. We need somebody that knows how to build an offense, a defense, a special teams unit, then knows how to replace their coaches on a consistent basis, knows how to replace good players by drafting others and developing others and keep that whole thing going. That's part of this process. All right, 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056. By the way, new sponsor on the program. We see the proud family of sponsors there. We're going to have to, now, I don't know what you're going to do now, Sean, but you got to start adding logos to that thing, baby, because Perdomo Cigars now is a proud sponsor of the program. Look at that border, bro. Look at that border, the 10th anniversary. Yeah, 93 rating. Ah, there you go. Cigar of the Year 2021. Nick Perdomo's been a friend and a sponsor of this program for many, many years throughout. So Nick has become a avid watcher, listener of the show, and he loves the show, and so he wanted to become a part of the family. And obviously, I've been a Perdomo cigar smoker myself for a long, long time. So there you go. So if you guys want to enjoy a nice cigar while you're watching the playoffs, a little 10th anniversary action right there, baby. That is a great cigar. That the flavor in that cigar is absolutely awesome. So welcome aboard to Perdomo Cigars, proud sponsor here of the program. Growing every single day. And by the way, thank you again yesterday. I can't, Sean and I, we are just constantly floored at what's going on and what has developed on this show. Yesterday, another record-breaking day, 155,770 downloads. Let me repeat that again. Yesterday, 155,770 audio downloads. That has nothing to do with YouTube. Okay, YouTube, I know the show yesterday is over 15,000 views already. And by the way, way over 1,000 likes. Thank you. Let's do it again. Let's keep that streak going of 1,000 likes. Let's go, man. Let's go. Let's go. Please punch that like button. It is incredibly important. These are the things that are going to help our show grow immensely. And don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on the podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel as we make the push for 10,000. We're over 9,200 right now. So thank you all out there for helping us climb there. Let's get to 10,000 subscribers. And again, yesterday, the audio downloads just, sick. Uh, we just printed the 11 million one. I don't know. I think we're well on our way to 12 million already, pretty close to it. I don't know where the hell we're at right now, but it's pretty sick, the amount of downloads that are coming in every single day. So thank you all out there immensely. Yeah, we're almost at 11.5 million already, and we just crossed 11 million. So it's just crazy. Thank you all out there. Really, I can't say enough the support that you guys give us every single day here on the program, man. Good stuff as always. Let me see. What do we have here, by the way, on the chat board? I guess Chapman was in first, right? Yep. Chapman was in first. David Triana is in. Flo starting Brissett had nothing to do with Tua's finger. He actually thinks Brissett is better. You called it. Yeah. Oh, Adam Beasley about the Ravens game. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I mean, it's not for nothing, man, but we've been all over this whole thing with Flo and the issues with Flo. So I'm not surprised about anything that really went on. The only thing that I was, a little bit shocked yesterday, I will admit, is that they really pulled the trigger. Like to me, it was obvious what was going on, and I'm sure it was obvious to them. And the fact that they had the balls to do it, that gives me hope that they can build this thing moving forward and be real, because they're willing to make the tough decisions. Because listen, it's all about optics, right? And what I've noticed is there's a lot of people across the country. Like, I was laughing my ass off. All the people on ESPN, none of them know jack crap about what's going on here. Nothing. And they're all talking out of their ass, every single one of them, and they know squat. But the problem is, when you're a lazy person, and we got it on local radio too, and I'm sure that it's infested in different parts of the media. You just look at the optics. Oh, it's 2 winning seasons. How can you let go of somebody at 2 winning seasons? But you don't, you look behind the scenes, and there's a lot more problems out there. It's not that Dave Wannstedt was a great coach. He had a great defense. He carried his ass. It's not that, this guy's a great coach. There's enough talent here that's been carrying his ass. He stopped you from actually getting into the playoffs. That's the part that people don't understand. And that's what the front office is looking at. That's what I'm looking at. That Brian Flores' decisions over and over and over again cost this team. And then the players had to bust their ass to make up for it. But we got people all over the country commenting on this. Oh, and he kept the team together. When I hear former players say that, I laugh my ass off. Because it's like, man, you played the game. I tell you this all the time, okay? Former players don't know more than you guys do, pretty much. The only thing a former player ever knows more than you guys, understand this, is X's and O's. They're always going to know that more than us. But behind the scenes, what's going on, of who's good, who's not, they don't know jack crap. Okay? All right? Because I've schooled tons of former players. Schooled. Okay? Ran circles around their ass. Why? Because 80% of former players are effing fans. So, yeah, that's a backhanded shot at some of you out there. Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. So, they don't know how to be objective. They don't really they play the game, and then yet they still don't understand the politics at times. You know why? Half the dumbasses that played in the NFL, they don't even know the CBA rules that they agree to every year. Why do you think football players get taken to the woodshed every single time in negotiations? Because they aren't the brightest bulbs in the chandelier. That's why. So, I love hearing these former players. And trust me, I enjoy talking football with former players. Yeah. Yeah, because I get to know how little they know about the actual game and the history and the players and the coaches and the personalities and all that stuff. The only time they're going to run circles around you and I is deciphering X's and O's. Outside of that, NFL players, give me a break. They're a freaking joke. Okay? They're a freaking joke. So give me a break. So enough already. I see all these guys on these different networks and because they played the game. And then some of you end up buying their bull crap. You know what I mean? That's the problem. Too many people talking crap and they don't know what the hell they're actually talking about. 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056. By the way, Sloman's Home Security is a proud sponsor of our program. And right now, folks, if you are one of the first 40 Big O listeners right now, 1-800-ALARM-ME, we're going to give you a free doorbell camera. And it's so easy to use. It's so convenient. It allows you to stay in touch with everything going on in your home, whether your family's at the house or not, whatever it is. For me, we always have family because, we're Latin. But, outside of that, I also have a bunch of dogs. So I want to keep, on track of my big dogs, because they're always roaming the house and that kind of stuff. So, all that kind of stuff. That's what I love about Sloman's Home Security. And right now, folks, 1-800-ALARM-ME. And you can get a free doorbell camera, folks. That's right. For a limited time, call them 1-800-ALARM-ME, and the free doorbell camera connects directly to your smartphone with the installation of your Sloman Shield. And, of course, we're also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. So you're getting an LED touchscreen pad, a motion detector, 3 arm doors, and a backup battery, folks. Plus, if you're one of the first 40 Big O listeners right now, call 1-800-ALARM-ME. Tell them that Big O sent you. You'll receive the free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. 1-800-ALARM-ME. Protect your family like we do in the Alzigari household. 1-800-ALARM-ME. All right. What we got here? Let me see. Super chats coming in. Rob Manx, thank you, sir. He says Dolphins need to bring back the orange jerseys. I think the classics will eventually come back in the next couple of years here. I think Garfinkel and company are working on that. Joseph Blasetti, thank you, sir. A little love on the super chat. Remember, you can always make a donation through Cash App or Venmo. That's Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. That's slightly better because, the show gets the whole donation. Whereas here, 30% is YouTube. They take 30%. So whole thing over at Cash App and Venmo. Jose A. Lucas says Peterson as head coach, Dable as OC, Tua would explode. The only problem is, Jose, we have to be realistic as fans, okay? And you got to take a step back. So Dable's going to leave Buffalo to be from the OC in Buffalo to be the OC in Miami. Oh, and by the way, the Bills are also going to let him go to take the same job in the division. Come on, dude. Jose, I love you sending me the super chat, but buddy, let's go. It's if Dable's leaving, he's leaving to become a head coach, not an offensive coordinator. He's already an OC. So he needs to become a head coach. That's kind of his thing, my man. So he's not leaving Buffalo to become Miami's OC. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. What's it called? Steven says Garfinkel was asleep this year with no throwbacks for Monday night or Thursday night. Whatever. I don't. That doesn't. If you're losing sleep on that, Steven, I'm sorry, dude. That doesn't matter to me. Just change the whole logo. That's more important to me. Not to show up for one stinking game or two or whatever, or the last game of the season. Just get rid of the damn whale overall. That's what I want. Lisa says, Big O, who is the member of the media that is trying to say Chris Greer is a snake that Omar is talking about? I have no idea. We'll ask him. I have no idea. I don't know. Don't know. Somebody may I don't know. Listen, they don't talk to any of the members of the media. So whoever that is might be a little frustrated that they don't get any more information. So that's why they're acting like that. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Ryan Nunez, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Some love on the super chat. He says, with a clean face like that, I know you're here to kill it today. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. I do have something I got to get off my chest because I love Dave Hyde. Okay. I'm a big Dave Hyde supporter. I agree with him, I would say, about 95% of the time, which is a scary thing for Dave Hyde when I'm agreeing with him about 95% of the time. But there is a 5% that I have to include today. Today I have to include a part where, I read his article today, and all of a sudden now we're going after, the thought of whether they get along or this and that. And Hyde was talking about, apparently there was an exchange between Tua and Flores. And apparently Tua kind of told them, hey, you need to learn how to deal with people. And so then Dave Hyde went off, and Dave Hyde all of a sudden became the old man, get off my lawn. Okay? Yes, Dave, I love you, but you became the old man, get off my lawn. Well, Shula had this disagreement with that player, and this disagreement with that player, and that disagreement with that player. I get all of that. And that was a different time. And Don Rickles doesn't work now, Dave Hyde. Okay? And Red Fox doesn't work now. And Richard Pryor doesn't work now. And Archie Bunker doesn't work now, dude. Don Rickles doesn't work now. I love you, Dave. But you forgot something, my brother. Tua played for Saban. So if Tua can get along and coexist with Saban, but he can't coexist and get along with Flo, just like Kenny Stills, who is harmless. Minka doesn't seem to have any issues in Pittsburgh, but he has them here. The track record's there. Dude, this whole thing now, they're getting soft and this and that. No, it's not. Flo's an asshole. Doesn't know how to communicate with people. He's a jerk. Randy Shannon was a horse's ass. Didn't know how to communicate with people. Joe Philbin was a stinking crab. Didn't know how to communicate with people because he was soft. It's different ways of doing it. Joe Philbin was a different way of not knowing how to communicate. Adam Gase had a different way of not knowing how to communicate. And Brian Flores has a way of not knowing how to communicate. But let's not make it sound like all of a sudden Brian Flores is Mr. Tough Guy and the rest of the team can't handle it. And then when I read Hyde's article, it's all these stories about Shula, this and that. Tua played for Saban. Let me repeat it again. Tua played for Saban. So if he didn't have a problem with Saban, but he has a problem with Flo, guess where I'm going? I'm going with Tua. Because I watched Changeli walk out the door, and I don't even know if Jim Caldwell really had a health issue, or he goes, wow, I'm not working with this clown. I'm out of here. Mike Gesicki can't even look at him in the face. Let's not make this sound like all of a sudden Flo, the organization can't handle Flo. No, the problem is Flo is the same asshole that Adam Gase was, that Joe Philbin was. And that's it. Kick his ass out to the curb and move on. So I love you, Dave Hyde, but standing out like an old man on the lawn and giving me Shula stories don't mean jack crap to me. It's a different era, like I just said. And Red Fox can't stand on a stage anymore, and neither can Richard Pryor. It's a different era, and you better learn how to deal with human beings. So let's not make this whole thing out like Flo is some tough guy that the Dolphins couldn't handle. No, Flo is an asshole that the Dolphins didn't want to deal with. Are we clear on that? So let's not spin it any other way and anything else. All right? I've said this before. Sperano started off 2-4, then went 9-1. Rest in peace. Didn't mean he was a good coach. And Flo winning 7 games in a row doesn't mean he's a good coach. Adam Gase went 1-4, then went 9-2. Doesn't mean he's a good coach. Let's stop with the prisoner of the moment BS. All right? Enough already. I mean, look, we make it sound like they fired Lombardi yesterday or something. Oh, my God, they allowed Tom Landry to walk out the door. It's the next Bill Walsh. Oh. Brian Flores had a ton of issues. And everybody in that building had to overcome that guy. That's the reality. Everybody else is trying to work at it, and he's the only one that's constantly going against the grain. It just gets to the point where you just say enough is enough. And if you allow it to fester, that's the worst thing. Look, the Dolphins were in a terrible position. They hang on to him, and then it becomes a disaster. Same old Dolphins. They hung on to the guy too long, and they made the mistake. Now they fire him earlier than expected, and now they're terrible and they're idiots because they fired him after 2 winning seasons. And that's a lazy-ass take when you don't know what was going on behind the scenes. For months, for over 2 months, I kept telling everybody here on this show, the guy was acting like a complete jerk behind the scenes, was acting like Matt Patricia and Josh McDaniels. Did I not tell you guys that? Did I not repeat that over and over again? Did I not tell everybody, go ahead, go, you'll see, it'll all come out. And eventually it's all come out. And more will come out. Because we're only scratching the surface. There's other things that went on. Robert Tomato, thank you, sir. Appreciate you on the super chat. Rod R, thank you. He says the fact that all the analysts are blasting the move makes me like it that much more. Exactly, because they're all lazy and they're all looking from the outside of the 2 winning seasons, and they don't really know what is going on behind the scenes. You know what's going on behind the scenes? Ira Winderman is ready to go, and guess what? The Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report is next.
Heat fans, time for the best insight of your favorite team with insider Ira Winderman, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. It's the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report. Here's Ira Winderman.
All righty, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. How are you doing, sir? Good morning. Good morning.
I'm doing good, but I know I'm getting angry Orlando Alzagari, so I might move back here in my seat a little bit and let you bloviate a little bit more.
No, but you got the good stuff. You get to cover the Miami Heat. You get to cover, just to bring this up now. And this is my you reassess everything in life, right? Mm-hmm. You gather more information and then you say, I was right or I was wrong on this. And in this case, it's the latter. And, I wasn't big, as you know, on these contracts, right? The long term, I'm really concerned about all that stuff with Lowry and Jimmy down the line because their bodies are old. And we see it with Jimmy already that, he's constantly getting dinged up and all that. So, but I said with the caveat, this 1 year here might be their best year because this is the healthiest these older guys are going to be. And you really could make a nice run here in the conference. Well, I'm wrong. If they're healthy, they can win it all because I didn't count on Yurtsevin. I didn't count on Gabe Vincent. I didn't count on Max Strus. I didn't count on Caleb Martin. I didn't count on this crazy ass depth that this team has now. We thought we were looking at, and I know he's going to shorten his rotation for the playoffs and all that stuff, But if you need some ammo, it's going to be there for you now. Something we didn't know. We were kind of looking at it like, well, they got UD and they got Akpala, and they're just spots that are sitting there. We're not even looking at the other guys. And all of a sudden now, I have changed I'm wrong. The Miami Heat can win the NBA title if they're healthy. I believe they can beat anybody. I know Golden State will be tough, but still.
Well, I mean, and again, you have to look at quality wins, and that's the thing. They've beaten every contender in the East. They've beaten Chicago twice. They've beaten Milwaukee twice. They've beaten they've beaten Brooklyn when they went up there. So there's not a team in the East that scares you. And yes, even Golden State, they were shorthanded within 4 points, 3 minutes to go on the Warriors' home court, albeit without Clay, but still they played them competitive. They certainly have shown what they can do against Utah. They showed what they can do against Phoenix. So I agree. I have a little different take on depth than you do. And I agree to your latter point that you're going to shorten the rotation anyway. I look at the Heat depth this way, almost in a food type of sense, as preservatives. That because you have a Caleb and a Gabe and guys like that, you could preserve the legs of Kyle Lowry and Jimmy Butler and PJ Tucker and Markieff Morris and Dwayne Dedmon, your older players. So when you get to that 8 or 9 man rotation come the playoffs, you could have fresher players. Bottom line is, and I wrote this today when I did my Heat midseason report card and gave Kyle Lowry my midseason MVP, he's only missed 4 games. The one guy I was most concerned about missing time at 35 years old has shown the kind of gamer he is. And Spo's been careful, and he hasn't overused him. And they've had a bunch of fourth quarters, thankfully, where Kyle's been able to sit. So, yeah, I still think it comes down to your top 3 reserves in the playoffs. And that's probably Tyler Hero, either Max Strus or Duncan Robinson, who doesn't start, and Dwayne Dedmon. But you have a little bit more there that in the first or second round, if someone is injured or not fully themselves, you can feel comfortable with a Vincent or a Caleb Martin or put someone else. And we haven't even mentioned the golden ticket, Victor Oladipo, the universal donor. You bring him in, you have a playmaker, you have a scorer, you have a defender, you have a ball handler. So that's still the unknown. If Victor Oladipo is close to Houston Victor Oladipo or Indianapolis, Indiana Victor Oladipo, then everything changes. I'm not saying he's Klay Thompson, but he might be one of the top 5 NBA midseason game changers.
Oh, yeah.
So we wait.
Yeah. No, it's just, to me, that's the thing that it gets me more excited about this team is the development of these young guys, and it just really sets them up right now. Ira, where are they health-wise overall with the team?
Probably as healthy as they're going to be and getting healthier. I was surprised Jimmy was still on the injury report. I thought after all this time off, but I think that's being cautious, and that's a Monday injury report for a Wednesday game. I think Jimmy comes back and plays. He's now gotten a full week off after he had that injury at Golden State. Actually, he'll have 8 days. Health and protocols, the only person in it, it's interesting, is Marcus Garrett right now and Markieff Morris. So they did keep Kyle Guy and Chris Silva. When Garrett comes back, they'll have to make one of the 2 inactive, which is fine. You don't have to go that far down in your depth or make a move with their 2-way contracts and maybe keep a Kyle Guy. Again, it's always something, Big O. So just when Markieff Morris goes on Twitter and says, I'm coming back, and he flies out to Phoenix and he's with the team and he practices there, then all of a sudden he enters protocols. And that's the great unknown of all sports. We've seen it with the Panthers. Just when they're playing great, Hornquist goes out. You never know. That's the unknown in sports. So yes, Markieff Morris remains an abstract. You will see Dwayne Dedmon and Bam Adebayo before the end of this month, and probably sooner rather than later. So really, your only major injury questions right now, if Markieff is back like he said, is the Victor Oladipo injury. Otherwise, you're closer to healthy than you've been in a while. And again, that's going to open us up in these accurate Pembroke Pines reports for who plays and who doesn't. And it's interesting because every time we ask Eric Spoelstra, what do you do now? He has that like Cheshire grin. Don't jinx it. Don't tell me I have everyone, because 2 minutes later, Jay Sable, the trainer, will come over and say you can't play. But there's a lot of really interesting choices, including the Yurtseven thing, who I still believe is more of a future thought than a current thought for the Heat. And just to expand this, I wrote this in my Ask Ira today. The Heat right now, their primary power forwards, you'd agree, are PJ Tucker and Markieff Morris, pure power forwards.
Right.
Well, PJ Tucker's on a 1-year deal, that a 2-year deal, player option second year, that pays less than the mid-level. He's going to be looking for a little bit more after the season, as he should. And because the Heat don't have bird rights, they can't really offer him more than $8 million or so next year. So that's a little tenuous. Markieff Morris, if he comes back and does something, he's on a 1-year deal. That's a little tenuous. So maybe next year we get to Yurtseven and Bam. Maybe Bam gets that 3-point shot going a little bit more, or Yurtseven, and the Heat can go bigger. Again, Dwayne Dedmon, 1-year deal. You can move off of him. So for all the names you mentioned to me, the Vincents and the Struces and the Yurtseven, I think it bodes better for the future. And that's why the Heat have taken this screw draft choices approach, because I'd rather have what the Heat have gotten off the street than some of these number 27 draft choices or second-round picks anyway. So
And
I
it looks
think as
like
encouraging as the moment is, Big O, I think the future is more encouraging.
But it keeps them flexible too at the same time. At least that's what it seems like. But let me ask you on a follow-up on the PJ Tucker one.
Sure.
So they can't offer him more than a 1-year, $8 million deal. But what if they offer him a 2-year deal?
Sure.
Can that second year have the bump?
No,
and
it can't. It still can't have more than about 15%. But here's the deal. PJ Tucker is 36. So if you were to give him 2 years, probably with the raises, $20 million, that might get it done. That takes him to 38. Now, again, I think people always, overstate chronological age. I think people would be surprised how old I am, how old you are, because if you're invigorated and active, you can still do something. I don't look at PJ Tucker as a 36-year-old. I look at PJ Tucker as a contributor, and I couldn't give a rat's ass what age he is. I would rather have him at 36 than some of the other bums out there. They paid more money in their low 30s. Same thing with Kyle Lowry. He's going to be an irascible SOB the rest of his career. But if that motivation, hopefully not too technicals like in Portland, but if that keeps him going, then God bless him. One of my fellow NBA, actually a broadcaster, texted me during the game. He goes, Kyle looks a little big in the butt. And I said, you know what? If he plays big in the stats and big in the win column, I don't care. In that case, I like big butts and I cannot lie. So I'm fine with that. Thank you, Sir Mix-a-Lot. And then I go from there.
But he certainly doesn't go by the rule of Pat Riley that every year you get older, you come in a pound lighter. Okay?
Or a body fat percentage lighter. And I honestly wonder, Big O, for all the talk of the Heat's conditioning test, if they didn't necessarily let Kyle skirt some of that. And you know what? God bless him if they did, because the rules have to be flexible for your Shaquille O'Neals, for your Kyle Lowrys. Get it done on the court. I don't care about anything else. Sort of like the Allen Iverson type of thing there also. Game day is fine. I'm fine.
Well, you know what it is? And I think you have the same thing that I do when we look at certain players. Is he a professional? Oh, he is? Not worried about him.
Right.
That's
and
it.
He's a pro's pro.
And that's it. So, he's always going to be ready. If there's a character issue, okay, and there's a conditioning issue, then you worry about it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But Lowry is a guy, okay, he's not in the best condition, but when has that ever stopped him from, ever giving you an effort and playing hard and all that? He's always been Kyle Lowry. That's who he's been. It's not like it's ever changed. His body has always been that dude. You know what I mean? Sherman Douglas was that dude. Charles Barkley was that dude. There are some guys that aren't necessarily workout fiends, but you kind of know who they are by their DNA, who their makeup, and you just don't worry about it that much.
And we even saw that with Kyle on this last road trip. He was out on the golf course in Phoenix, and Pat Riley used to have a no golf clubs rule on road trips. It's all about business.
Yeah.
Hey, if he shot a good round and then beat the Suns, go ahead and play golf today and tomorrow and beat the Hawks twice this week. I have no issue with that. So, rules are made to be bent for players you should bend them for. I think that's a little bit of the Dolphins issue there also. Is the across the board hard ass approach is not the best approach. And Eric Spoelstra, the one thing you'll notice, Big O, no matter what he thinks of a player or doesn't, publicly you're not going to hear condemnation. He will dance around it. He will tell you how hard KZ Okpala is working in practice. He'll tell you that guys are working to get their games better. Privately, that's a different story.
Atlanta, not the team they were last year. Why?
Because when you have a lot of young singular stars and you draft a lot of players in the same relative age group and everyone wants to be the man, it gets difficult. And now John Collins, a very good player from up here in West Palm, Cardinal Newman, and even he said, you know what? They don't call any plays for me. I'm not getting the ball. I'm not getting it enough. And that's sort of, that poison that seeps in or whatever of success. They are a very unique team. The Trae Young Hawks remind me of the Iverson 76ers, where they got Iverson out there dominating the ball and then 4 subservient players, Mutombo, Tyronn Hill, Eric Snow, players like that. But if other players want the ball and Trae Young is playing that style, it can be difficult for a Bogdanovich and a Gallinari and a John Collins and a Cam Reddish. So I think it's kind of tough. And I also think Nate McMillan is one of these coaches where sometimes you keep the interim coach too long. And I think he gave them a nice spark last year. Remember Miami? He came in and replaced Lloyd Pierce between those back-to-back games against the Hawks. They won the second game going away. They took off. They went to the conference finals. But I think there's an expiration on that also. And I don't think there's a real love fest for Nate McMillan also. So they
Why
very
doesn't he
much
ever
have
last?
regressed.
He doesn't last anywhere.
No, he does. And he doesn't succeed on the highest playoff level also. So I think sometimes you got to step back. But I think that's sort of the convoluted management situation in Atlanta also.
Is this like his 4th head coaching job, including interim?
At least that. I mean, obviously way back in Seattle and then the time in Indiana also. And he gets results and he lifts your bar to a certain level. I was surprised when the Pacers let him go.
Man. He's a hell of a player, dude.
Yeah,
I remember.
I was surprised when the Pacers let him go, but all my friends who work in Indianapolis say, yeah, but he hits a bar and he levels off there and he can't get you to that next level. So that's what's going on in Atlanta.
Pelicans, do they end up in Vegas or Seattle? Because I mean, we're headed there, aren't we? Like Vegas and Seattle are going to get teams, right?
This was David Stern's thing. After Katrina, he did everything and anything he could to bring him back from the temporary time in Oklahoma City and said, you will have a home here. But now David Stern has passed and times have changed and there's great markets out there, whether it's Vegas, whether it's Seattle, whether it's Kansas City. And if you expand, you're cutting your revenue pie of 1/30 of a really nice slice of new television money. So, yeah, I think it could be the time now when you see NBA teams move on. That has never been an NBA market. That's a football market. That's LSU. That's the Saints. That's who they are. I mean, I tell people the fascinating story about the Smoothie King Center is this. They don't even have air conditioning. They pipe in the air conditioning from the Superdome. So you really are a second-class citizen in your own building there. So I do wonder, and if Zion Williamson leaves or forces his way out with another trade of a major star from the Pelicans like Anthony Davis, I do think you have to wonder how much longer they can last.
Yeah, I mean, I've told you the story. I've been to games there, and it's just, whatever. I got like $32 for 2 lower bowl tickets, for me and my producer, like nothing. It was like, wow. And there
like
was
a secondary sport. Yeah.
Yeah. It's sad. It's depressing to go to a game there. So, okay. So we figure New Orleans is going somewhere. So that means, does the NBA expand or do they move another team? Because you and I know Seattle and Vegas, they're going to, you threw a little curve at me with Kansas City now, but I figured, Vegas and Seattle are 2 just fantastic locations. Now,
I think Seattle.
I can't even. Here's the part that I'm so confused. I thought basketball would be the first one in Vegas.
Well, the NBA had an all-star game in Vegas, and it was an abject disaster. And the city almost blew up. So I don't know if they won 41 games there and have to go through that. And you know what? You might laugh at this, Big O, but they have that summer league cash cow. That is unbelievable on the campus of UNLV.
You and I will be there next year.
Yes,
okay?
And so I'm not sure they want to give up July, because it's almost like when we used to have minor league baseball here, with the Yankees of Fort Lauderdale Stadium. Once you get your major league team, all the ancillary stuff dies. Seattle's a legacy market. It'll make it easier for Portland for travel. You can then move one of the Western Conference teams maybe to the Eastern Conference, realign a little bit more. So I think Vegas might be a little more back burner, although certainly the success of the Raiders and the success of the Golden Knights shows that it does work. The whole thought of transient fans in Las Vegas, no, there are people who live there. That's a good sports market. I agree.
The A's are going to be there soon too now. So that's why I'm saying the baseball is going to get there before basketball. I would have never thought of that. By the way, I hear Vegas may be shut down in 2 weeks. Anyway, all right. So looking at the team tomorrow, this is a game that very winnable, right? I mean, they're not even.
Yeah, this is a game that matters.
They're not even dominant at home, by the way.
And they have the Hawks twice. They have them tomorrow and then back Friday at FTX Arena. Orlando, if you remember last year, the Heat lost a late season game to Atlanta. They wound up losing the number 4 seed in home court against the Knicks by 1 game. A lot of people look at the standings and say divisions don't matter. No, divisions are the second tiebreaker after head-to-head. It does matter. It's important to win your division. It is there for the taking. We know that the Hornets are okay, but not good. We know the Wizards are okay, but not good. We know the Magic are awful. So it'll come down to these head-to-head games against the Hawks. If the Heat are closer to full strength, if they have Jimmy Butler coming off a 3-day break with Kyle Lowry and the other players, I think both of these games are gettable because the schedule gets harder after this. Then you have Philly on the second night of a back-to-back on Friday. Then you got teams like Toronto coming in and the Lakers coming in and the Clippers and the Blazers. So you know what? These might be your gettable games. But Big O, more than anything, after tomorrow, when I do our new hour-long show, you want to tell people our new sponsor?
You go ahead, baby. It's the Sloman's Home Security Inside the Paint program.
So when we put you on 1 hour of full security NBA basketball after tomorrow, when I do the show from Atlanta, the Heat's closing schedule, 26 of their final 41 games will be at home. This is move time. This is like, okay, we're at the Kentucky Derby. We're coming around the final turn. We're coming down the home stretch. And it's nothing but open area between us and that finish line. That's incredible. A +9 in home versus road games over the second half of the schedule. So honestly, survive one more road game and it opens wide open from you. And all of a sudden, I'll be doing plenty of these from this home studio instead of from some hotel shaky internet.
Good for you. Good for you. Actually, you've been on a good roll with the hotel internet, actually.
Oh, it's been better than FTX Arena when I had to go to the phone. So I've been pretty good. But I literally am walking my laptop around the room because there's no more hard lines to find that one sweet spot. And then I realize half the time it's facing the bed, so I have to make my bed even in a hotel room.
When the hell are they going to fix that humming in the damn? They never ever bothered to fix that damn humming in the press box.
Okay, this is for people who want to know. When you watch your Heat post-game shows and you see your interviews and you hear this zzz, the Miami Heat interview room is next to the electrical station at FTX Arena. They have built solid concrete walls. They have put up the sort of the matting that Big O has in his home studio and carpeting and anything they could to get rid of it. And every time we have a visiting person come in, a broadcaster, the first thing they go is, what is that sound? It's almost like I've spent my career working under electrical wires that I am sure when I'm done doing this beat, I will glow in the dark.
Yeah. It's just, it really is nuts, dude. It just, they should just move that press room somewhere else, man. Just for the audio.
Big O, we're not a priority, and we're not getting any closer to that locker room. Don't kid yourself.
It's crazy. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. Catch his work at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Make sure you subscribe and support our local journalists. Ira, as always, great stuff, great insight. We will catch you tomorrow morning with the Sloman's Home Security Inside the Paint Show.
Full hour show with Clay Ferraro. I posted my Heat midseason report card. I'll go over it. We'll see how Clay grades me tomorrow. Thank you, Big O.
There you go. Be good. There you go. The great Ira Winderman. I love it. Acura Pembroke Pines, baby. Tell them that Big O sent you. Right now, folks, you can get the 2022 ILX. You can save thousands right now. You can buy or lease $500 on loyalty savings. The #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States now, 12 years in a row, folks. The TLX 2022 is in. The RDX is in, folks. Man, they've got financing as low as 2.9% for 60 months financing. So get on down there. Tell them that Big O sent you. They will take care of you. You can buy or lease the MDX, which is just a absolutely beautiful car, at 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines. Tell them that Big O sent you. They will take care of you at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. All right. We thank Ira there. Let's see. Chris Greer put this team in a position to have the most cap space in the NFL, a bunch of draft capital and a young, talented roster. You casuals are right. Chris Greer should have been fired. Right. There you go. Miami firing Flo at this point has actually been portrayed already as semi-sus racist by a couple of sportscasters. Well, that's whoever has been saying that it's kind of racist. That's stupid. That's ignorant. Okay. A black general manager fired him. It's dumb. All right. It's simple. Flo is the kind of asshole that you don't want as a coach. That's it. Not the right asshole, the wrong asshole. So, but you guys want, listen, again, we're in a world where you're going to believe whatever the hell you want to believe. Pierre says, if the Dolphins don't finish above 407 next season, who are you going to blame? Too many questions on Tua, durability, arm strength, every game he throws direct. Well, why don't we wait till next year, Pierre? You're already finishing next year on a negative note. So let's wait till next year plays out. If it's negative, then we'll talk about it. If it's positive, we'll talk about it. But let's just wait, right? Let's see what else. Darren Lee, Ira is the best. Would love to see him do a Dolphins segment in the future. Hey, you never know if Ira will do more talk here down the line. Remember, this platform has a ton of potential that obviously we're growing a lot of the elements around my show, right? But that doesn't mean that we won't add another host down the line and another host down the line and expand things and all of that. First, we're going to solidify everything that we're doing. And then when we get to a certain part of the stage, then we can start to add maybe other elements to it. You never know. But it's slowly but surely. It's not something that we can do overnight. Okay? By the way, let me see. Cash App or Venmo, that's Cash Big O Show. Cash Big O Show, if you want to reach out to us on Cash App or Venmo. And on the Cash App, Roger Suarez says, for how long will the coaching search last, in your opinion? Roger, I think that the coaching search is not going to last more than a couple of weeks. Why? Because I think they want to have their guy in place before the Senior Bowl. And that way it gives the coach time to then do interviews at the East-West, the Senior Bowl, all that, to kind of start filling out his staff. So I would think that within the next 2 weeks, you will have a head coach. That's my guess. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they want to take a little longer. I'm not exactly sure. Okay. Paul Corlett, thank you, sir, for a little love on Venmo. He says, Orlando, I like the shave. You're looking clean. You need to do a guest spot on the station that will not be named and straighten out their host. No diss, but all of them sound clueless. Are you talking about locally? Well, first of all, dude, I have zero intentions on doing anything locally. I'm not helping out that sorry ass place for anything. You know what I'm doing? I'm throwing dirt on that bitch. I'm going to bury that effing station is what I'm doing. Okay? That's what I'm doing. I'm not here to help their sorry, pathetic asses. I'm here to crush them is what I'm here to do. And that's what we're already doing. Okay? Because their programming doesn't even come close to what we do here every day. See, the beauty about what we do here every day is we actually work. We actually can provide you like real insight on the teams, because we actually have insight on the teams. We actually have people inside the teams, and we actually have insiders, you know what I'm saying? Over on local radio, they do nothing. They have no insight. They can't provide anything. So they're going to sound lost. When you don't know what the hell's going on, how in the hell can you provide any insight? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm glad that they sound lost. Okay? I heard Joe yesterday. He was tearing into Chris Greer. He clearly isn't a fan. Laughing my ass off. So, anyway. Oh, man. And Hunter Butler, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Love on the super chat. He says, everyone called me crazy about Flo, but I kept telling them, keep doing your thing, Big O. Appreciate you, my man. Appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Flo was on the hot seat since the preseason. Did anyone watch how bad this offense was, especially O-line, get rid of veteran players? I'm sure that, like I told you, this decision was probably made, a couple of months ago. And they just said, we've had enough of this guy and we can't work with the guy. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Majestic says Johnson should have been able to trade Marino in '96. The Colts traded Unitas in the late 30s. Johnson had a young Aikman when he got to Dallas. Probably in hindsight, that probably would have been what's best for Marino also. So yeah, I agree. Barney O says I'm kicking subs, but it has to stay busy. Okay, I don't know what that means, Barney, but I'm glad you're kicking subs. I don't know. Sean and I will take a sub. All right. I want a turkey sub. What are you looking for, Sean? Roast beef? Roast beef? Okay. Look at that. I even guessed. I was, I just threw it out there. Thomas Jensen says, Big O, apparently you had an insider telling you this and you knew it for a long time, because looking back now, I noticed Flo didn't seem too happy win after win after win, like he already knew. Well, Thomas, as I just said, we're probably the only show in South Florida. No. Let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that again. We are the only show that originates out of South Florida that has real insight on the Dolphins. Let's just end it that way. You're not going to hear any other show. They're just spewing hot air and or talking about their favorite sandwich or something like that. That's why you've got to do stupid shit, because you don't know anything about sports. So you got to talk about silliness. We're the only show you're going to actually get substance. You're not going to get that anywhere else. You're going to get, I don't know, maybe fans on the air is basically what you're going to get. One concern is that Tua will be the scapegoat for Flo's exit, possibly dividing the team. Hyde is calling for firing Flo. Soft sauce. You can still be demanding and old school without being an ass. Well, Doug, you might have missed my rant already on that. You might want to rewind. Yeah, I thought Hyde was completely wrong. And I love Hyde, and I agree with Hyde a whole bunch. He was dead wrong on that article. Way off. Okay? But that's sports. We can agree and disagree. And I agree 95% of the time with Dave Hyde. Very few times I disagree. This one, oh my God, I couldn't disagree with him more. And my explanation was pretty thorough. So rewind, you'll see it. It was right before Ira came on. We kind of made it known how we stand on that article. I love Hyde, but that article couldn't have been more off. Put it that way. Do you worry Greer is too much of a nice guy and let Flo walk all over him? Minka was Greer's prize draft pick, and Flo seemed to force his hand in that trade. Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm saying, and I've been saying, that the next time you hire a coach, you don't give him the Gase and Flo power. And that's the problem these last two hires. You gave Gase and Flo way too much power, and that screwed the team. So the next time the coach can make the suggestions, but he can't be the difference maker in decisions anymore. You know what I mean? You just can't do that. There's got to be more of a dynamic that is working actually together. That's why the Hyde article for me, I love Hyde, but he's completely off on that. Oh, Flo is so tough to deal with and all this stuff. And Tua dealt with Saban, bro. So obviously Saban, is a maniac in his way, but obviously Saban knew how to deal with the kid. So if Tua's telling Flo, yo, you need to learn how to deal with people, then I'm going to lean on the Tua side. Why? Because Flo had problems with Minka, had problems with Kenny. Kenny Stills is the most harmless human being out there. Like, Kenny Stills is not a bad dude. Like, there's no thug, there's no street, there's no punk in Kenny Stills. And he had a problem with it, and he showed him up in practice by playing Jay-Z music. That's an a-hole move, dude. All right? That's whipping out your Peter and saying, I pee better, stronger, and more than you do, Kenny Stills. This guy has had an issue with people. Like I said, there's no difference between Philbin and Flores. There's no difference between Gase and Flores. It's just they're all weird in their own way. They just didn't have Randy Shannon. I've seen this before. All four of these guys, they all lack people skills. different ways of lacking the people skills, but they lacked the people skills, and that'll burn you. Cameron Wolf from the NFL Network, our Fort Lauderdale Police Department, Miami Dolphins, and NFL report. That's next.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
South Florida's premier law enforcement agency is now hiring individuals like you. The Fort Lauderdale Police Department is now accepting applications for non-certified and certified police officer positions. Minimum requirements and qualifications can be found at flpdjobs.com. That's flpdjobs.com. Are you ready? The city of Fort Lauderdale is an equal opportunity employer. The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. We unleash the Wolf Pack as we get the latest in the NFL and Miami Dolphins with our Fort Lauderdale Police Department Pro Football Report with insider Cameron Wolf. The Fort Lauderdale Police Department is an equal opportunity employer. The department is now hiring uncertified and certified police officers. Go to flpdjobs.com. Here's NFL insider Cameron Wolf.
All righty, there he is, looking sharp with his Houston Cougars shirt. I thought you were going to have like a Georgia Bulldog shirt today.
No. I got a lot of Georgia Bulldog fans who I'm friends with who are have no voice this morning. But
good for them, though. Good for them. They stopped choking. I mean, that was
finally so many years. They finally got over the hump.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Since Herschel Walker, it's like. It's a long ass time ago that they had that success. So Kirby, and I thought Saban handled it with a lot of class too. I thought
he was very you kicked your ass in the fourth quarter, and he had a smile at the end of his face. I think it's a prideful thing probably for him because you look at it and see one of your proteges. If I'm gonna get beat, I'm at least get beat by one of my guys.
Right? Exactly, and it's just listen. In the end, all those SEC dudes are all the same. So they, the league also is super happy because, both their teams were in there and they were going to win either way. It didn't matter what team won, the SEC was going to win. So it was actually a good thing for the entire conference. All right. So Cam, you wake up yesterday morning, the news breaks, and what goes through your mind?
Shocked. It's funny because I got to give you credit though. We talk about it on this show. You had been calling for Flo in his job, and you thought that was realistic. I didn't think it was realistic. So you were right on this one. But I'll tell you what, Flo was just as shocked. I talked to people close to him, and he did not see this coming. He didn't view this as like a realistic possibility, losing, winning 8 of your last 9.
I apologize, but I keep thinking none of us get to talk to Greer and Flo. Well, Flo never got to talk to Greer either, and that's how come he never even knew either.
Yeah, there definitely was a disconnect there, and I've learned more in the last day than I knew about that situation. But it's interesting because they're like two opposite personalities. Flores is this, very aggressive, assertive, abrasive at times guy, and Chris is passive. He's kind of a natural good guy, doesn't really make anybody upset. But also doesn't really speak up a lot. So they're completely different personalities. So to kind of see this being boiled down as a Greer versus Flores deal is interesting to me. I don't know if that's the full story. I think there's more elements to it than that. I know there's more elements to it than that.
Well, you were probably listening right before we came on. I mean, he had issues with Kenny Stills. He had issues with Minkah Fitzpatrick, which put the front office in a terrible position because they were forced to trade a young Pro Bowl type safety. Luckily, they were good enough to draft another Pro Bowl type safety to replace him. So that kind of worked out in the end, but still you were forced to trade him which then you lose leverage in the process of all of that. You're not going to be able to maximize, that trade in all of that. But there were, obviously the 7 different changes with their coaching staffs on offensive line and offensive coordinators. All this there was so much turnover throughout the first 3 years that the issues were a lot deeper than just Chris Grier, clearly. And that's why I compared him to Joe Philbin and to Adam Gase and to Randy Shannon with the Canes. Maybe they're all different in their personalities, but they all struggled to get along with human beings.
I said this yesterday on NFL Network on air, and I actually had a player reach out to me this morning and was like, "You're right on point." There was a vibe in that locker room that if you did wrong, essentially, Flores would yell at you. He'd get on you hard. It'd be that. If you did right, he'd not really talk to you. He'd probably leave you alone. He's a tough love, and he only coached the guys he felt like it needed, like really coached hard the guys who needed it. So there was a lot of feel where some players like that. Some players like the hard coaching if they were struggling. Leave me alone if I'm doing well. But there's a lot of players who like, man, tell me if I'm doing something right. Give me encouragement. And that was an element that's missing for him. So I think that the Dolphins felt like they need somebody who could be a little bit more of a people person, a little bit more somebody who can interact with players and have a relationship with them that's beyond just that element. So
you got kids?
I do. I have a daughter.
How old is she?
15 months.
Oh, okay. Well, it's too young still.
Yeah,
but I mean, like when she gets older, so you just gonna rip her when she does things wrong, or you're gonna give her a hug when she does something right, and when she brings
I'm gonna
home, you're gonna give her a high five, you're gonna give her some love, right?
That's here's the thing. Right. No, I think you're absolutely right about that. And I'm a different person than Flo. Flo's a lot more, abrasive, like I said, than I am. But
listen, I'm a tough dude. Also, I mean, ask
Right.
Sean. He's worked with me at several places where I had to run things, and I'm a hard ass.
Right.
Now I'm the first guy to tell you, hey man, great work. That's awesome. I really appreciate it. Thank you. But I'm also a hard ass too. You know what I mean? Because I work hard. So if I work hard, I expect your ass to work hard too. You know what I mean? So I'm going to be a tough son of a bitch to work for. You know what I mean? Sean knows it, but I am also an encouraging person too at the same time, because there has to be both. I was tough on my daughter, but at the same time, I couldn't give her enough hugs in a day and kiss her and tell her that I love her and send her a text or whatever, because it has to be a bit of both. It's not that you have to do it, but it's just kind of part of the process of anything and raising anything. Like I was saying yesterday, you go ahead and adopt a dog and just feed it and throw it in a corner and never love it and never give it attention. How do you think that dog's going to grow up? Now you give it love, you give it attention, it's going to be a completely different dog around you. You know what I mean? So that's kind of part of what it is. And he struggled with that.
Yeah, I think that hopefully he knows this. Like, I think Flo's going to get another opportunity, whether it's a head coach or DC this period. Like, he's too good of a defensive coach for him not to get another opportunity immediately. Like, regardless of what you thought of Flo, their defense has been really strong over the last couple of years. And he's found ways in his own way to motivate guys in the second half of the season. So he clearly has some traits that have translated well, that he's a good coach. I think that you're going to look at him, and where I think he needs to grow is what we talked about, knowing that this is particularly a different era of coaches, because, maybe in the 60s or 70s, you could get away and not really care about, somebody's feelings or, how this is perceived or what the impact is. But now, especially with social media, and I don't want to say this era's got softer, but it's an era where you have to appease feeling. It's a part of the job. And I think that's something that Flo has to work on. And I know he knows that. Whether he does it, whether he has the capacity to change, I don't know that. He might not. It might just be who he is, and for better or for worse, you're getting it. But I know he's interviewing for a Bears job today. I know if he probably has another interview, he'll probably get another interview or two. So it's going to be different opportunities for him. That's the one element he has to fix. But my big thing with you, Big O, and I want to ask you this, because you have been for a while on the Fire Flow train.
Hell yeah.
My deal was, do you fire a coach because he does not get along with others? So for me, I fire coaches for football reasons. I fire coaches because you're not winning enough games. I fire coaches because the overarching feel I've got is that Flo was fired mostly because he did not get along with others, particularly the most important others, the GM, the owner, the quarterback.
Oh, no,
Didn't have
no,
a
but
good
there's
relationship.
there's a domino effect. I just told you with Minka. You think that's not a
Well,
problem?
no, Minka and Kenny
That
still.
was a that was a problem for the front office, dude. You
Right.
put them in a
Oh
terrible
yeah,
position, and then they made
absolutely,
up for it. You know what I'm saying? And then
absolutely.
they got you Fitzpatrick,
Right,
and yet
right. No, I'm with you on that, and that
and
to
then
me, that's
and then you're disruptive, and you want Brissett,
right, right. And I'll actually tell you a story.
and you don't play Mac Hollins, and
Right.
Mike Gesicki's on the sidelines,
No, I
and
hear
because
you on that.
they're,
These are all things that are
I'm giving
flaws
you
in his.
football. No, I'm giving
Right.
you. No, I'm
No,
giving
you're
you now
giving me football,
football.
but I'm telling you
No,
this, Big O. That's not why he was fired. He wasn't fired because Mac Hollins didn't play enough on the field,
no, but I'm
or
telling you, that's icing on the cake. That's like,
right. But I'm
okay,
telling you why.
this
I'm
guy's
telling you why. I'm telling
I
you
know that.
why. And to me, that's not a reason. That's not a good enough reason for me. You know,
But don't kid yourself on this.
right,
Besides not getting along with people, he screwed up all over the place.
right,
Okay. He's the one that wanted Kyle Van Noy and then wanted to kick him out
right,
because Kyle
right.
Van Noy had an opinion and he doesn't want people with opinions around. He
Yeah,
doesn't
that
want
was a
Kenny
bad.
Stills
That
with
was a
an
bad
opinion
signing from
around.
the jump. Kyle Van Noy was a bad signing from the jump.
Whatever it was, but that was his signing.
Oh yeah,
This
absolutely.
guy.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
they signed him. They appeased him. And
Yep.
then he turns around and screws the GM by saying, no, now you got to cut him. So now the GM takes the cap hit. The GM brings in Eric Flowers because he needs him. Now he kicks Eric Flowers out. No, we'll go with young guys. So
Right.
what do you want, Austin Jackson left guard, or do you want Eric Flowers? You would have been better off with Eric Flowers. He made a lot of stupid football decisions along the way. In the Tennessee game, you got to use Duke Johnson more, dude.
Right.
You're in a rain game with a quarterback that doesn't have a gun for an arm. So you need to run the ball. The kid had 7 for 49. He was sandwiched between two 100-yard games. You could have had a third one. I don't know if you win that game, but maybe you make it more of a game with it. I can just go over more and more football things that I'm telling you, Cam, besides being a first-class a-hole, they looked around and said, we're not in the playoffs because this idiot made this, and this decision. This is why we ended up losing these games. And that's the problem that they look above. It's not just that. He meddled with the football decisions. And watch the next coach. He will not have the power that Gase and Flo had with personnel. That will change. I promise you that. That will change.
I agree with you on a lot of those things. My thing is that, like, Flo, who he is today, he was the same guy when they hired him 3 years ago. He's not got worse. He's not changed. He was the same a-hole, if you want to call him that, abrasive dude, difficult to work with. These were all things that were a part of him. The tough love, only talk to you when you're doing good or doing bad and need to be coached up. Now you're doing. These are all elements that were there year one, year two. And these are things that after the season, Ross would praise and say that he felt like it was on the right track. So there's the whole idea that all of a sudden in year three, he started becoming difficult for everyone is not.
I think it was difficult all along the way. They just mask it and hope that it gets better, but it never got better. And that was the problem with it, because I'm sure the conversation was had with him. Hey, you're not going to turn into Josh McDaniels or Matt Patricia, are you?
Right.
Oh no, I'm not one of those guys. Well, he turned in, but I
don't think he was.
I think I used that line with you and everything.
I don't think he was as drastic as Josh McDaniels or Matt Patricia, because I know a lot of guys in that locker room, and there were people who didn't like him. Certainly, there were players who didn't like his heavy-handed approach, the way he would treat them, the way he would speak to them. And I think Tua was among that group. I think that Tua was definitely, kind of souring on Flo and his personality. But there was also a lot of guys who loved that, being coached like that, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. So I think he had a lot of fans in that locker room. So it wasn't like everyone hated him. But I like I said, I do think that it's a different era. Whether it's the toughness factor or whatnot, I think that he was a lot too harsh for people. And I think it did lean into his football decisions. You talked about it. 4 different O-line coaches, 3 different OCs. Some of that's
and there's no hope that he was going to fix it.
right.
That's insanity.
And from what I understand,
that's the insanity part. When I would ask any media member or a
right.
fan and say, "Oh, bring back Flo," and I go, "Well, why would you bring him back? What would make you think he's going to fix the offense?"
Yeah,
and that's where everybody would then go like this, because you didn't have an answer because there's no track record.
And that's one of his biggest failures as his first time as a head coach, in my opinion. You got to figure out who your guy is, and I think some of that, like they talk about, like the Dolphins have put out the relationship and personality, that sort of thing. The one thing about relationships is that you have to be able to know the right people to be able to hire these positions. I do think that was a weakness of Flo, being able to know the right OCs, the right O-line coaches, the right guys that you need.
You want my theory on that?
And trust.
You want the theory on that?
Yeah. What's your theory?
Never, ever hire a coach that's been stuck in one place. They hired Philbin, stuck in Green Bay his whole life. Mm-hmm. They hired Flo, stuck his whole life. Right. The funny part is, Cam, I always have fans tell me, well, why'd they hire that guy? I mean, that guy's been like in 8 places. He's always getting fired. And I always tell people he's been in 8 places because he's a really good coach. He got fired because it's the situation that got everybody fired, but it's not that person. You want the coach like a Dable. You want the coach that's bounced around and coached all over, because when he's coached all over, he's coached with all kinds of coaches, all kinds of systems. He's met all kinds of different coaches on the other side of the ball, offense, defense, special teams, and he builds a Rolodex that way. The guy stuck in one place, like Philbin, like Flores, rarely they can take coaches with them, and they have no Rolodex because they've only worked in one place, and the only people they really truly know are the people they've worked with in that spot. So it's a very limited thing. So that's why you see them go to the same well over and over again, because unlike the guy that's been fired and bounced around and been a head coach here, an offensive coordinator there, a running backs coach here, wide receiver there, all this, that guy's got a fat ass Rolodex because he has met everybody and has more chances to build a staff.
No, I think a lot of that's real. I think a lot of that's real. I think Flo did have a difficult time finding the right guys in those particular
just like
positions.
Philbin.
Yeah. Just and so if there was a big criticism, my biggest criticism of Flo, it would be those two things. The fact that he had trouble hiring the offensive positions that mattered, and the offense ultimately was the bigger struggle point. And that when chaotic situations may have arose, I don't know if he handled them the best way. We talk about Kenny Stills' situation that I know very well, how he handled that. Minkah Fitzpatrick wanting him to play a position that Minkah didn't feel comfortable with, not figuring out a way to work that out. And then Tua this year throughout the year with the Deshaun situation, they had a little disagreement in the Baltimore game about his injury, and Tua thought he was healthy enough to play. Flo didn't. Flo
never believed in the kid.
Exactly.
That's ultimately that was the problem. Because if you have a negative attitude already with the kid, you are never going to be supportive of him in the process. So it's hard to succeed. That's like telling your kid every day, you're a disaster. You'll never turn into anything. You'll never turn into anything. You'll never turn into anything. And eventually that may end up happening.
So I don't know that I would say he never believed in Tua. He was a part, like if you're going to hear, you've heard this throughout the years about who wanted who. From what I understand, Greer, Ross, Flo were all on the same board to draft Tua.
No.
Maybe we heard different things though. I heard they all wanted Burrow initially.
Yeah.
And then when Burrow was not available, all three wanted Tua.
No.
And so
no.
That's what I said. Maybe we heard different things. We heard different things.
No. I'll put my life on it.
Okay.
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's fine.
I know what Flo wanted.
Right. That's something we can hear different things from different people, but I also know people try to change narratives once things become a little bit more.
I know for a fact what
that's
Flo
what I'm saying. I hear you. But I guess my big thing, if I could change it a little bit. We talked a lot about Flo, and obviously Flo's gone from the Dolphins. He's going to land somewhere else, but I don't know if I feel great today if I'm a Dolphins fan.
I do. I feel great.
I know you feel great. So let me tell you why.
I think this gives you a chance to move ahead. Look,
let me tell you my concerns real quick.
Go ahead.
So, 4 Fed coach since 2015.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a never-ending cycle. every single time, stop and start with a new idea, a new philosophy, a new way to make it different, a new way to get out of mediocrity. And
Right.
it's 2 decades. And so why would I have any confidence that Steve Ross is going to hire the right guy this time to be able to make it different? I have no confidence.
Right.
So you're firing Coach Flores, and this guy isn't Vince Lombardi. Like, I think that Flo deserved another year, but let's be real. This guy was 24, 25, and missed the playoffs 3 straight years. So this hasn't been a situation where this guy was a rock star. But I thought that he showed enough as a good coach. To me, Flores wasn't the biggest issue on this team. To me, they had a lot of bigger issues. But beyond that, the Dolphins now go into off season, and whether you're a Tua guy or a Watson guy, you're going to be looked at in a situation where you've now gone through 3 head coaches over the last 6 or 7 years. You're going to have to try to find a new head coach, and you're keeping your GM, who I know you're a fan of Chris Greer, and I'm not trying to get everybody fired, but I was shocked that Chris Greer survived and Flores didn't, given that, look at Greer's draft record. We had one really good draft in 2021, but 2020 was very rough, and he hasn't had a history of drafting the most important position, offensive line and quarterback, consistently. Jury's still out on Tua. Maybe he's the guy, maybe he's not, but those 2 positions have defined a team. So now you're going to try to hire a new head coach where you're saying Chris Greer is going to have all this power. How are you going to hire the rock star head coach you have when you already have a GM that may or may not be somebody that candidates like? I just don't see a clear direction for this Dolphins team. And I was told by somebody yesterday, we think we're close. I am tired of hearing that.
I know that.
I'm tired. I'm tired. There's this my mindset, and I don't know if it's a Steve Ross deal or otherwise. There's a mindset that we're a lot better and we're a lot more talented and we're a lot closer than we truly are. And I heard it when Steve Ross was explaining the thing. He's talking about this young, excellent, talented roster. Where? There's some talent here, but I don't see a young, excellent, talented roster just waiting to be exposed, and all of a sudden Flores is just screwing this up and not maximizing every player. No, there's huge holes on this team that need to be fixed, and a lot of these are front office personnel decisions. So I don't have any confidence right now that Dolphins are going to be in a better spot a year, 2, 3 years from now, and a lot of that starts with Stephen Ross to me.
I get you, and I understand what you're feeling, and as a person that's actually lived this whole thing throughout, first of all, does it make sense to hang on to Philbin for another year? Does it make sense to hang on to Sperano for another year? Does it make sense to hang on to Gase for another year? If you don't think it's the right person, you pull the trigger. The Dolphins were going to be criticized whether they pulled the trigger early or if they stuck with Flo one more year, they fall short, and then they end up firing everybody. And in the end, Chris Greer, Marvin Allen, and Reggie McKenzie know that if they didn't fire him now, next year he was going to take all of them down at the same time. Okay. And as for, I watched Sam Madison and Pat Surtain and Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas and Tim Bowens get old before my eyes because Dave Wanstead could not figure out the offense. I watched Cam Wake and Jones and Soliai and Randy Starks and different players that they had after that wave, and they were pretty good defensive players, and they got old. And poor Cam Wake never really saw good Dolphin football in the postseason like he deserved, too.
Right.
So it's a catch-22 that if you don't think you have the guy, well, you're better off tearing off the scab and moving on. And so that's why I have no problem moving on in this sense. Now, as for personnel,
if you're taking off the scab, why not take off the whole scab? If you feel like it's not
because I don't believe the personnel part. That's what I'm about to answer. Okay. I don't believe the personnel part. I think Stephen Ross knows.
So you feel like the roster is good enough to continue. You feel like this roster is good enough to be a contender already.
No, because they need a couple of offensive linemen, experienced ones, and a real offensive coordinator, a real offensive coach, and a real quarterbacks coach, something they failed to have on this team. And those 3 things would already change. If you had those 3 coaches this year, you're in the playoffs.
Right.
This year, you're in the playoffs.
So that's Steve Ross' take. Your take is Steve Ross's take, and I disagree. But if that's your take, that's your take. Your take is that we're better coaching.
Let me finish.
Your take is we're better coaching this year. The Dolphins would have been significantly better.
Easily, they would have been. They would have been not doing. They wouldn't have done anything in the playoffs, but they would have snuck in at least. Okay, they would have at least snuck in. That's my thing. But here's where I disagree with you on the personnel side. So you're hitting on Jalen Phillips, and you're hitting on Javon Holland, and you're hitting on Brandon Jones, and you're hitting on Raekwon Davis, and you're hitting on Kyle Van Ginkel, and you're hitting on Phillips, and you're hitting on Waddle, and you're hitting a whole bunch of guys, right? The only two guys that aren't working right now, they don't play, Hunter and Iggy. So we really don't know whether they can play or they can't play because they haven't had an opportunity.
I can tell you on Iggy.
You've only on 2 games?
I've seen enough.
2 games. Wow.
I've seen 2 years.
No, you
I
have
watch
not
my practice every day.
The practice and that none of that makes anything, bro.
There's a reason.
Got to get out of the game and get real.
There's a reason why they bent to Xavier Howard and paid him his money, the additional money, breaking precedent on something they didn't want to do because they knew they would be a disaster without him.
Oh, you mean this past year?
Yes.
No, that was a flow thing, my brother. That's why they paid him.
They knew what happened if you get rid of X and you have Noah starting opposite Byron Jones. This defense would have been a large, significant amount worse.
What do you think is going to happen this offseason?
I don't know. It's going to be interesting because X is going to want some more money again.
No, X is gone.
And this defense is going to go from good to below average just by that one move.
Well, you got to make the move. The knee is only a matter of time. You can't have that many scopes.
X covers a lot of holes on this defense.
No, I get that.
Like
I get
more
that.
than people don't realize. X is by far the most important and valuable player on that team.
Right now, his value couldn't be higher. They're going to dump him now, and they're going to play Noah next year. They're going to find out if he can play, and they'll probably sign a veteran as an insurance policy just in case. And that's probably what will happen. But they're going to have to move on from one of those 2 guys. And I would bet that it would be X because eventually that knee is going to give out and you don't know when. Plus, he's going to ask for money. But my point is on all of this, if you're hitting on all of these picks, and then all of a sudden you say the offensive line, okay, and Hunt actually has looked all right with terrible coaching. I think if you get real coaching, 2 or 3 of these guys end up becoming good players. So then the personnel department really isn't that bad as people are making it out, because if you're hitting on all the picks pretty much, and we haven't found out about Noah or Hunter, and the offensive line struggles because of coaching, that's not really personnel. Plus, Stephen Ross knows exactly the things that Flores wanted to do and alter in the draft or in free agency.
That's true.
So that's why he's also gone, because a lot of the moves that he meddled with are the ones that screwed the team over, i.e. Flowers, i.e. Van Noy, i.e. the safety Cousins that you could have kept at least for the transition early on for Holland that would have helped you out. But these guys that have opinions are not good for flow. And so I think there were several decisions that went on that I think he meddled in, and it wasn't just that the personality, it's also part of the personnel. And I think that's why I'm telling you that the next guy, I believe, will not have the same kind of personnel power.
Gotcha. I'll leave you with this. So we talk about personnel, and like I said, we have different views on the personnel, but I know some people in the league have a view of this situation. And I mentioned this on the air yesterday, but I talked to a personnel executive from another team, and I told him the reasonings that Ross gave, the ones we just talked about, the fact that he feels like we believe in the talent and the roster more than we believe in the coaches. And he laughed at me. He said, look at that offensive line. Look at the way they've kind of produced. That's the reason why they're not in the playoffs. That's poor drafting. That's poor drafting, not poor coaching. That was his view. One person's view.
No, that's fine.
And so, like I said, I have a view. Clearly, Steve Ross, who makes all the decisions, his view is the one that matters in this case.
Yeah, true.
But there are people in the league who are looking at this and saying the reason why the Dolphins aren't where they are is more of a personnel issue than a coaching issue.
By the way, who do you think decided on 4 young linemen and a journeyman to start the offensive line? Do you think that was
who else?
Do you
Who
think
else are
that
you
was
gonna
the
start?
personnel department?
There was no other talent on that roster. Like who else was
No,
a competent
he
starter?
could have. He had Flowers. He could have added Flowers to the
I
left
mean,
guard.
I'll be real with you. Flowers was not a very good player. Like they made a mistake in signing him, but he was not a very good player.
But he's better than Austin Jackson by miles, right?
Right. Because you should have drafted a better player.
And not that I even go with their grades, but wasn't he like top 20 in PFF for guards?
What this past year? Not when he was in Miami. Not when he was in Miami.
How about this? Hey, listen, just because they can't coach here in Miami, my brother, you're stuck here with this thing. He played better in Washington because they have better coaches. That's
Washington does have a really good O-line coach, but that's the only place he succeeded. Eric Flowers went to the Giants and failed.
The next
time he came here, didn't play well. And so, yes, Washington's the perfect home for him, and he can't play anywhere else outside of there.
So next time you talk to that GM, you tell him, so better coaching wouldn't make a difference?
Maybe it does. Maybe better O-line coaching does. Right. I told you, I don't disagree with that. I think they can be improved on the OC, the O-line position. My thing is that I do not believe that roster is as talented as you and Steve Ross think it is.
Well, I know it's talented enough to at least get in the playoffs. You should have beaten a couple of teams in that you lost to this year if you had a real coaching staff. That's the way I look at it, personally, for me. You don't think you could have won the Jacksonville game?
Oh,
you
yeah. Those were awful losses. Those were awful losses. And Flores was absolutely outcoached in Jacksonville by Urban Meyer. So I don't disagree with that.
So then how the hell are we saying personnel when the coaching sucks, dude?
Because
we can't have them both ways,
right? But also you got to call it both ways too. You talk about their bad losses. They won games over the second half of the year they shouldn't have won. They were not as much of a talented team. They were not more talented than Baltimore. They outcoached Baltimore. Yeah. They outcoached Baltimore. They won a game they shouldn't have won. Would an average coaching staff would have lost that game in Baltimore? So we can talk about the game. We can talk about the games they shouldn't have lost, but they out-schemed Lamar Miller and they broke him that day, and they ended up winning that game. So most coaches do not do that. So you got to call it both ways, though. So they lost games they should have won, but they also won games they should have lost.
Yeah, well, that happens to every team every year that they win a game or two that they're not supposed to win. But on the Lamar Jackson side, I'm the different guy to talk to. You know what I mean? Lamar Jackson, to me, you stop his run, you stop him. I don't fear.
But you got to admit,
I've never feared his arm in my life. I would never fear his arm because he doesn't have the accuracy. He'll never be a great passer. So if you force him to try to beat you with his arm, you'll beat Baltimore every single time. That's why he falls short in the playoffs. Because eventually he was
killing it going into that game. He was an MVP candidate. He was torching everyone up until he ran into the Dolphins that day.
I don't think he's had a great year this year, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. He's been hurt the second half of the year, but he was playing great up until that game. That game really derailed his whole season.
Yeah. Well, they all you got to do is confuse the kid, and he'll struggle with that. All right. So, what do you think happens? Does this coaching change happen quickly? Because I think it will happen in the next 2 weeks before the Senior Bowl. Do you think that?
I do think they have to compete with some other teams, so I think they'll expedite it. I do think it'll happen before the Senior Bowl.
What kind of coach?
I think they're going to go with somebody who is definitely more of a people person. I think you'll see somebody who probably doesn't have as strong of a personality. I think you're going to see a guy who may be like, I know there's been some names thrown around. Brian Daboll is a guy they've been talking about interviewing. He coached Tua in Alabama his freshman year. Byron Leftwich is another guy out there in Tampa who, I definitely think they're going to lean. They say they're going to have an open-minded coach, but I definitely think they're going to lean on the offensive side of the ball. Teams typically do the opposite of what they just had. So you had a defensive, very strong personality guy. I think they're going to have a mild-manner offensive guy going forward. So a Brian Daboll, a Byron Leftwich, maybe even a Jim Caldwell, a Doug Peterson.
That's my guy.
Guys like that who have, are mild-mannered. All those guys are quarter guys. I think they go with one of those guys and try to make this work.
I'm going with Caldwell because he's got the experience and can build a staff.
Right.
And I think that's really, really, really important. And he's a guy that probably can groom somebody to take over for him a few years later. So
and he's definitely a mild-mannered guy who would lead. So that's
super classy guy, man. He's a pleasure to deal with.
He's a good dude. He's a good dude, good coach.
Great
won a lot in Detroit and didn't get as much credit as he should have.
He needs a 5,000-foot statue in Detroit. He had 3 winning seasons in Detroit, 2 of them in playoffs. And then they hired some guy with a bird's nest in his face to replace him. Jesus Christ.
Man.
My
so,
God.
Yeah, if you gave me a choice, I'd imagine it's one of those 4 guys that end up getting the gig.
Joe Flacco, 11 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jim Caldwell.
Jim Caldwell is a great coach. Coach Peyton Manning.
Hell of a coach.
Coach Peyton Manning. So I don't know if they go that way, but I think they go, like I said, somebody mild-mannered offensive coach.
He even designed Suck for Luck with Curtis Painter. It's a beautiful thing. All right. Anyway, follow him on Twitter, Cameron Wolf. Catch his work at the NFL Network. Cam, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
You got it. All right. We wrap it up with Cam, Manny Navarro, and our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report next.
This has been the Fort Lauderdale Police Department Pro Football Report with insider Cameron Wolf. The Fort Lauderdale Police Department is an equal opportunity employer. The department is now hiring uncertified and certified police officers. Go to flpdjobs.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Caneswear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good?
Feeling good, brother. I mean, life's good. Canes basketball team's winning, so that's fun. You got an extra team to cover now. Before I could ignore them when they were terrible.
Right.
Now they're actually winning. And,
we could talk about, can you dig it? You know what I'm talking about?
No, I missed it. Go ahead.
Can you dig it? From what movie is that?
Oh gosh, now I'm trying to remember. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank.
We see the what is it? The Jones boys next to the whatever, and nobody's wasting anybody. That is a miracle.
I mean, you're doing great. It's just I was like in an entirely different conversation before we started, so my brain is in another place.
For 5 feet of ground, our turf, our little piece of turf. That's crap, brothers. No, nothing. Warriors, bro.
Okay, I was starting to get an image in my head.
What was the
guys
name of the guy that said, "Can you dig it"?
I can't remember now.
Cyrus.
Oh, Cyrus Moss. There you go.
There you go. Whoa!
Now I got there, brother. Now I got there.
Man,
I apologize, brother.
Oh.
I understand. I know. I'm too busy thinking about this new running backs coach that Miami got, and
I got to get you up with pop culture, bro. I mean,
hey,
you
I watch
can't
a lot
do
of
radio
movies
without pop culture, bro. You got to tie things together.
You're right.
And you dig it.
You're right. I got to throw more of that in there. But I was just spaced out because the whole thing with the running backs coach at Miami and just working a lot of different things, bro. So my head was spinning. So
tell us about Cyrus, by the way.
Another one of these Greg Rousseau type guys, man. Big body, 6'6", 220. He's what he weighs right now, but he's an All-American talent out of Bishop Gorman, which, Miami's had some success with the Bishop Gorman kids. And he's gonna probably be 270, 275 by the time Mario's done with him, and he's gonna be one of the best pass rushers in the ACC, I'm sure. I mean, he's a talented kid, smart, fast, athletic, which is what they want. They want those kind of guys, and so big pickup for Miami. I know they wanted the Kevin Coleman kid. They felt good about it, but Dion and that Aflac money, baby. I mean, it's what can I tell you? I mean, they're cleaning up Jackson State. That whole situation is interesting. Oh, because I get it. The kids are going there now. The HBCU thing. It's great for those schools, but Dion is going to need a counterpart. They're going to need somebody to play in that league that has great players too. If you're going to sell that thing, and they need a TV contract to make it work. I think a lot of those kids might go there now initially, but we'll see if they end up deciding to leave to go.
Oh, if they get drafted, they'll keep going. They'll keep
You think
going for
so?
the help. If they get drafted, yeah. If they get what they want
Mm-hmm.
and they get selected in the high part of the draft, then Dion's doing what he said. I get it. They're not playing against SEC competition. I get what you're saying, all of that, but they're still getting to the show, so that really doesn't matter. So
Right. If they
you're
get to
right,
the show, it doesn't matter.
but you're right about what you're saying in theory.
Mm-hmm.
The reality of finding another type of coach like that in that conference to turn something like that around, that you need to find another character like that. That's really difficult, Manny. That's super
Yeah.
hard.
But they need a rival, because I think eventually those kids are going to see that all their buddies that are go to Alabama and Ohio
Right.
State and everywhere else, they're going to be saying, "Man, these guys are on in big time games. Who are we playing this week?" That's why I'm saying it. If they can get another couple teams that have a few of those kids and they get the same TV attention, I think it works. But otherwise, I think we could see, in a year or two, some of those kids say, "Man, you know what? I want to play in the big time games."
All right, where are we at coaching wise? What have they rounded out with?
Well, right now, I guess the only new addition is the running backs coach, Kevin Smith, which hopefully Miami announces that in the next couple of days or so. But Kevin Smith was at Ole Miss. He's a former UCF running back, played in the NFL out of Miami Southridge. Very good recruiter, and so I think that's the guy who's going to be the new running backs coach for Miami. We will see when they make it official, but that's the word. I had heard his name a couple of weeks ago. I asked at the time. I said not yet, and apparently somebody else I think had turned the job down, and then it became his. So that's the way it works.
Okay. All right. What else do we know? Anything brewing?
Nothing on the OC or DC to be announced
Why
yet.
so long? Are they part of Alabama and Georgia? What the hell's going on?
Maybe, I don't know. Listen, I said Glenn Schumann was the co-DC at Georgia, and to me, he's been the number one target all along. I don't know if now he's finally negotiating with Miami after the championship game last night. I don't know if that's sort of the process, because Mario's not the kind of guy who takes who's in a need to rush to hire staff.
Okay, so then this is my follow-up here to that.
Mm-hmm.
Any shot that the coach he's going after is in the NFL and the playoffs?
Could be. Very well could be. I mean, look, the other name I heard for the DC
might be like a linebackers coach that becomes his D coordinator or something. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It could be. The other name I had heard was Clint Hurt. As far as he former Hurricane, a guy who's been with Pete Carroll for a long time now up in Seattle. As far as NFL guys, I think there's a coach out of Houston. Delk was another one. I don't know where they are in the process. I've thought all along Schumann was the number one guy. That was my feeling, and he coached and won a national championship last night. Maybe it's soon. And if not, then I look, all of these guys, all of these head coaches, you know how it works. They have a number one guy that they want, right? They have their top target. Then they got the next group of guys. And then it just becomes a matter of money and what do you want? What position coach do you want to add? So all of that process takes a while. And Mario's the kind of guy who he took his time when he was at Oregon with his coaching hires. He would interview a lot of different people to get a good feeling about whoever it is that he wanted to be that guy. And these are important hires now. Okay. These are his first ones. Yeah. He's got a lot of money to spend. And all along, I mean, the first time I asked, I was told not till after the bowl game. So I went on vacation for that reason, brother, because I said nothing's going to happen yet. He's bringing his guys from Oregon with him that he knows that are going to be with him. And then after that, it's, so to me, the fact that it's taking quote unquote long for some people, it's really not taking long. It's really not. So,
all right. Recruiting wise, what's the next date we're waiting for? And then how active will they be with the transfer portal too?
Yeah, I mean they're looking at guys. There's a cornerback out of Oregon that they're interested in that's supposed to be visiting campus soon. They want to add one more cornerback. Tyreek Stevenson announced last night, or Miami announced it last night, that he'll be back next season. Same with Zion Nelson, the left tackle. So that was good news. You get two of your best players back. But they're looking for help on the offensive line. They want 2 to 3 kids on the offensive line. They don't have any offensive linemen in this class right now. They're looking at high school kids. I don't know that there's any transfers that they really like. Defensive line, there are a couple guys. One out of UAB, a defensive end that they're interested in. I think it's Moultrie is his last name. 265, can play 2-gap type system. He's a guy that I think they're looking at seriously for the defensive line. It's just about adding depth at this point. It's adding guys that can come in and help and not be a hindrance. You take freshmen because you want to develop them at a position. I think without question, offensive line is a position where you have enough guys coming back that you can, you have 6 core guys that are coming back that have played, and you can make it work. You can take freshmen. Defensive line's a little different. I think they need some age there. So the Moultrie kid, I think, they'll take a strong look at him. But and then receiver. They want, like I said, they wanted the Kevin Coleman kid, didn't get him. And so they're looking at one of the kids out of Clemson, who's from down here, played receiver, was a former 4-star recruit out of South Dade High School. And they also are looking at an FCS kid who set all kinds of records. They're searching for veteran help, but it's 1 or 2. It's not, like I said. And the other thing is that this point was made abundantly clear to me. They're not just going to take guys that take guys. In other words, they're going to take guys that help them. And if they don't help them, they're not going to waste a scholarship. So,
right.
And again, springtime, there are going to be more guys in the portal again. So you save a few scholarships for that point. So,
right.
And you're going to have guys leaving most likely in the spring. You're going to have guys who are like, hey, I'm not part of the rotation. I'm out of here.
And I think, and also I just think this is going to become a sexier destination now, with Mario here. I just think, look, Mario accomplished a lot at Oregon. Obviously, what he accomplished at Oregon is not going to be enough to satisfy the Canes Nation. But you're hoping that here in Miami, he gets a different player that he got at Oregon, one that's even better than what he got at Oregon. Right. So then the results obviously have got to be better. And that's what I'm looking forward to. See, the beauty about Mario, what I like about Mario and what I'm expecting from Mario compared to what I've watched for so many years now recently is I'm expecting organization. I'm expecting preparation. I'm expecting intelligence. These are the factors that I'm expecting week in and week out from the Hurricanes that I did not get. And I'm not expecting some idiot on the sidelines to be celebrating when he's down by 25. And by the way, the other thing I'd like for you or someone else to ask Mario is, are you still going to have this stupid ass chain when you're losing by 25? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I find it insulting that you take out the turnover chain when you're getting your ass kicked. That's embarrassing.
I think without question there are going to be some changes on that front, because this is about culture. It is about setting the expectation that this is Mario's old school, man. Like, his during the season last year, he had a freshman receiver who caught a pass. I think this was against, I don't know, Arizona State, somebody early in the season that they beat. And it was the first half, late in the first half. One of his freshman receivers makes a great catch and then spins the ball on the turf. So starts to hot dog it. And Mario got right in his face because he got a 15-yard penalty, knocked him out of field goal range. And, the announcer, Rod Gilmore, was criticizing him, making this sort of like a racial thing. Mario, this doesn't look good on you. And the reality is, like, the kid had no problem with it. He knew he screwed up. But Mario's mentality, yes, he played for the badass Canes in the 80s and early 90s who loved celebrating, but they celebrated because they were beating everybody's ass.
Right, exactly.
And this was the second quarter. It was 24-10. They weren't beating Arizona State's ass. They needed to beat their ass, and they weren't doing it yet.
Right.
So
Randall Hill can take out the 6-shooter against Texas.
Right, when you're up 46-3.
51-3, bro. Yeah. You're thoroughly embarrassing them. So
Right.
take out the 6-shooter. But when I see a Kane take out a turnover chain and you're down by 20, I feel like just going through the screen and just punching somebody. You know, it drives me crazy. It's a loser mentality type of thing. And I hope they eliminate that.
Yeah, I think it's only going to be brought out post game. Is I think I could see
I like
something
that.
that's. I think that could be something that maybe they pass it. Who knows? Who knows what he's thinking? I know he's
A locker room moment where everybody circles and celebrates the
right,
turnover king of the game or something. You know.
right, right.
And you can have your social media pictures there and it'll go wild too. And that's it and all that. And you don't have to do it out on the field and embarrass yourself. So,
Right.
yeah, I like that. I like that.
The team will be getting back together this coming weekend. School starts next week. It's all going to be virtual, but the team will be getting back together. They'll start to work out again. I think it's the 16th. And so, the coaches will start to get their imprint and put their imprint on these kids, meet them, have the workouts, all that kind of stuff. And so I expect, Mario at some point or another will probably, discuss some of those changes that he's making in terms of culture. But look, he's got his strength coaches, both of them. They hired another one from Oregon. They've got 2 now, both of their guys from up there, Aaron Feld and another assistant. They're bringing in 3, the offensive line and defensive line coach and receivers coach, the 3 most important guys to Mario, I guess, are here with him as far as staff. So there's going to be, the culture is going to be put in place by these guys without question.
Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Catch his work there at The Athletic. And subscribe to The Athletic and support, of course, Manny and all the terrific writers there. Manny, appreciate you as always, my man. We will catch up on Friday, my friend. Hopefully we'll have some coordinator news. Damn it, man.
Yeah, man. I'd like for it to be over with too. Believe me, I can just, settle into recruiting and basketball, not worry about, hey, who's the next coordinator or assistant coach. So we'll see. Hopefully it's done soon.
All right, my brother. You be good.
All right, man.
There you go. All right, Manny Navarro. Follow him on Twitter, Manny_Navarro. That's our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All right, we're back. By the way, let me catch up with a couple of super chats here. Remember, you can also send in on Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. Robert Tamamato says, I'm glad we moved on, but why do we hang on with Greer? Well, it all depends on the way you look at it, my brother. I don't think that he is the problem. Some of you do. That's where I guess we will have a difference of opinion. Rod R says, the fact that all of the analysts are blasting the move makes me like it more, which I kind of understand that. And thank you, sir. Let me see. I want to make sure I didn't miss any of the super chats that came in over the last hour because we've been talking. And I know a lot of chats have been coming in. Hunter Butler, everyone called me crazy about Flo, but I've been telling them, keep doing your thing, Big O. Thank you, Hunter. Appreciate you, my man. Appreciate you. It's all right, man. Listen, it's sports. We're not all going to agree on everything that goes. That's the fun part about sports. The part that sucks is that it frustrates all of us. Reginald Stambaugh, thank you, sir. A little love on the super chat. Very nice of you. Very nice. Let me see what else. So I have the when I'm on the road, I can't catch up this way. I have to ask Sean to do it, Reginald Stambaugh comes in with a second super chat, and he says, Ross says, I'd like to find a young Don Shula if that's possible. How about his son, Mike Shula, has been in the Carolinas in New York? Yeah, that ship has sailed. That's not going to happen, my brother. They're going to get somebody. I think they're going to go with an experienced coach that can build a staff, and I would go with a Jim Caldwell. And he knows quarterbacks. He would be good for Tua. Flo No Mo, also love on the super chat. He says 2009 Greer drafted Wilkins, Jones, Dieter, and Van Ginkel. Cameron is wrong. I listen, and on 2020, they always leave out Raekwon Davis and Brandon Jones. They only focus on Jackson, Tua, and Iggy because it's the 3 first rounders. Well, Iggy, we really don't know until he actually really plays enough to see if we could develop. I know players, that didn't start off strong and became great players. So it's not the first time. And I'm not with Cam. All right, I respectfully disagree with him. He's made a call on Iggy solely from practices. That's not what I do. I'm sorry. I got to see you how to. Some guys aren't even good guys in practice. Some guys, the light goes on for them in games. And I don't know if Iggy will or not, but he needs a lot of playing time so we can find out if he can play. And X will be gone this offseason. We can bank on that. X is gone. They're going to trade him, and they're going to get several picks, and they're going to go draft another corner, okay? And they're going to move on. They've got to manage the cap. That's part of it. And how you manage it, you draft picks. Draft picks come cheaper. You know what I'm saying? So you'll be able to keep them for 4 or 5 years under a much lower number. And listen, Greer obviously has an eye for secondary because he's put together a lot of guys in the secondary already. So I would not be worried about it. Leon Fresco says, Big O, well done. The takes on this, especially race-related takes, are nuts. If we keep Tua, we need to sign Mariota to fill in when he's injured. No, Mariota can't pass. I'm not a Mariota guy, Leon. He has no accuracy. Plus, he's not even reliable. He's way more injury prone than most quarterbacks. I'm not a Mariota guy. I would never want Marcus Mariota on this team. It's early. Hunter Butler comes in with a super chat. It says it's early, but do you think we draft a wide receiver or linebacker? Oh, yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt they draft. I think both of those things. You need a thumper in the middle, and you definitely need another wide receiver opposite of Waddle. So, yes, sir. Yes. Thank you all there for the super chats. I was able to catch up to the super chats again. Cash App or Venmo. That's Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Let's see. What else do we have here? Make sure that we are caught up, as they say. By the way, just a little sum before we start our number 3 on the program. The market is up now. The crypto market is up. So let me give you a little bit of our OK Coin corner today, our OK Coin crypto corner of the day. And right now, Bitcoin is up 2.5%. It's up to 42,921. So it's heading to 43 now. Remember, it found its floor at 42. Those of you that took advantage when it fell to the high 39s, through under 42, that was a great buying time, and you took advantage. Good for you, because this might be the slingshot, the boomerang that we've been waiting for Bitcoin to take off. But as the market has traded sideways, every time there's been a little bit of a pump, and we've had the retraction after, Polygon has been just like exploding. Okay? He reminds me of Braxton Berrios trying to come out of that Canes locker room, and they're holding him back, Remember that video? That's what it reminds me of Polygon. So Polygon right now is up almost 13%. It's up to $2.34. All right, mind you, we're talking about a coin that was over in the 2 range, 24 hours ago. So it's gone 34 cents up. And this has happened every single time that there's a little bit of a pump. And I mean this because Polygon, and I've been talking about Polygon for a while now, when it was all the way down to, 68 cents and 74 cents and 81 and all that. And I've been telling you about Polygon. So Polygon, and remember when it was under $2, I was telling you it was a great buying time to take advantage. The NFT space is blowing up on Polygon. Polygon for me is one of the best investments in crypto. Listen, I'm not a financial advisor, but I am a guy that loves my crypto, and I love Polygon. And Polygon, why do I love it? Because it's the NFTs, It is the layer 2 that's kind of taking over for Ethereum, and everything that they want to run on Ethereum because of the high gas fees, they're doing it on Polygon. And Polygon has gone through the roof on that. So you've got the NFTs, you've got the sick amount of transactions that people are saying, well, I'm not going to pay the Ethereum fee. I'll pay Polygon, which is just, a fraction. Then listen to this. The Associated Press is going to launch a Polygon-based photography NFT platform. So think about it. The Associated Press is at all these sporting events, taking pictures constantly. They end up in magazines and newspapers and websites all over the place. This is incredibly smart on their part to then create an NFT now. Because now they'll be able to sell these NFTs and create and generate revenue for the Associated Press. And remember, on the blockchain, it is perpetual revenue. Because let's say they put out an NFT of Bam Adebayo dunking, and you, the Heat fan in Malaysia, bought this NFT for $500. A year from now, that NFT is worth $5,000. And there's a Heat fan in London that wants to buy it from you. So he buys that for you from $5,000, but 20% of it goes to the AP automatically, perpetually. And if it goes up to $50,000, they sell it, 20% of that will go to the AP perpetually. Polygon is the explosion from Polygon is going to be nasty. This thing's going to go to $8, $9, $10, $12, I believe. And right now it's at $230, like I said. And by the way, they're also going to add they're already adding EIP 1599, which is what Ethereum added, which is burning Ethereum and has burned billions of Ethereum, which if there's less Ethereum, the value is going to go up. Guess what? You're now going to burn Polygon. So if you're going to burn Polygon, the value is going to go up. I love Polygon, one of the great investments out there. And folks, on OKCoin, go to okcoin.com, download the app on your iOS or Android. You can buy Polygon and you can stake it for 15.5%, 15.49% on OKCoin. Are you kidding me? So while you're watching it go up in value, you're also going to get 15.5% interest. Get out of here. That's a hell of a deal. Go to OKCoin, use my link on the Twitter page, and you'll get $50 free of Bitcoin. That's our OKCoin Crypto Corner. Hour number 3 is next.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
South Florida's premier law enforcement agency is now hiring individuals like you. The Fort Lauderdale Police Department is now accepting applications for non-certified and certified police officer positions. Minimum requirements and qualifications can be found at flpdjobs.com. That's flpdjobs.com. Are you ready? The city of Fort Lauderdale is an equal opportunity employer.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchased with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
The Big O Radio Show is looking for partners to join our growing platform. If your business is ready to reach an audience that starts in Florida, crosses the nation while expanding internationally, this is the program that provides that vehicle. The Big O Radio Show is ready to broadcast live anywhere in the world to represent your event or product. to reach out by phone, 786-754-4664. That's 786-754-4664. Or email bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. Help us grow as we provide the content and personal connection corporate entities will never achieve.
Folks, you can support the hardest working sports talk show in South Florida through Cash App or Venmo. Just search Cash Big O Show. Support us through Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show. We thank you for your incredible support.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty. Welcome aboard. Yes, sir. It is hour number 3. Thank you all for keeping it locked here on the program. It's a beautiful thing. Bitcoin is climbing, about to hit over 43,000. I love it. Those of you that took advantage between 40 and 42, you are very smart. Yes. All right. What else do we have here? David says, the point is that with better coaching, augmented by great drafting or scrap heap coaching, we can build an O-line quickly. With Flo and Jean-Pierre, it was not going to happen. Joe Thomas, Shula, Monty. Yes, exactly. You're right. That's in the end, it wasn't going to happen with Flo. And that's what we have to look at, unfortunately. You know what? Where I laugh, what is it? Some guy trucking. Where's the trucking guy? Because I thought the trucking therapy. This is funny as hell. Okay. Trucking therapy says, Flores' first year doesn't count. He got rid of the old vet. Oh, no, wait a minute. There's another trucking one. Wait a minute. Hold on. Here it is. Trucking therapy. Flores is going to be a great coach. It's just the beginning. He needed to grow. No, of course, trucking. Just like all the former head coaches for the Miami Dolphins. You know, Dave Wannstedt went on to become a great coach somewhere else. Joe Philbin went on to become a great coach somewhere else. Adam Gase became another great coach somewhere else. You know what I mean? All these guys that coached here in Miami, every one of them, they all became great coaches somewhere else. Yeah. Yeah, Miami seems to just happen. They usually fire the wrong coach. Dougie Fresh, thank you for the love on the super chat. He says, Flo's not old school. He's my school. And these are not the same. A lady's magic zone is close to something else, which it ain't the magic zone. This is the worst point I've ever made in my life. And my God, have mercy on my soul. You only Dougie Fresh does that kind of stuff. 855-912-1056 if you want to get in on the program. That's 855-912-1056 if you want to get in on the program. Damn, Polygon already went up to 238. I told you it was 234 just a couple of seconds ago. It went up to 238 already. It's like it's flying, man. That thing has been ready to explode, man. Just, wow. Just go. Just run. 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 That's what it's going to do. It's going to run. It's Run's house. That's what it is. I love it. I love it. All right. Stephen Ross addressed the meteors yesterday. And I think some of you have heard some of his comments. Maybe you watched the press conference. We have it on our YouTube page. Remember, Sean posts all the press conferences. So you can count on it there. After the Heat game, he's going to post the pressers. After, Marlins game, a Dolphins game, whatever, you name it, Panthers, he puts up all the videos. So you get to watch the players and the coaches and all that good stuff. And the owner spoke yesterday, and we have it there too if you want to watch it on our YouTube page here at Big O Radio Show. And please, by the way, smash the hell out of the like button. It is very, very important that you smash the hell out of that like button. Let's get that thing over 1,000 again. And those of you listening on the podcast, all right, please come on over to YouTube and subscribe. Help us get to 10,000 subscribers. We are already, I believe it's over 9,200 right now. So we are making a nice little charge. So help us. We are under 800 right now to get there. So help us get to 10,000 subscribers. That helps us grow a little bit more on the channel. So please, thank you out there. Let's see what else. So the owner addressed the media. Let's bring it up here, Sean, and let's hear from Stephen Ross after the firing of Brian Flores. He answers a couple of questions, and we'll go over some of his comments. All right, Sean, fire away, my man.
That he's done for the Miami Dolphins. He's a very good man, and I wish him the best. And I'm sure we'll see him again as an NFL coach. So now I'll take any questions.
We'll start with Hal, Palm Beach Post.
Yes.
Stephen, I'd like to ask you what role, if any, the quarterback position played in this decision. Was there a question over whether Tua is your man for the future? How much does Deshaun Watson play into it? And was there disagreement over which direction you should go at quarterback?
But first of all, let me be clear. It played no role in it at all. I have a lot of confidence in Tua, and I think, the next head coach will work with him or whoever else, but I have a lot of confidence in him. I watched him grow. I think he's a fine young man, and, he is right now the quarterback and will be dependent upon the new head coach, but I have a lot of confidence in Tua.
Cameron Wolf, NFL Network.
Steve, obviously the decision came to a shock for some of us. When is the decision to fire Flo and also keep Chris in charge?
Well, I've been looking at this over 3 years now and watching the organization grow, and I think an organization can only function if it's collaborative and it works well together. And I don't think that we were really working well as an organization that it would take to really win consistently at the NFL level.
Omar Kelly, Sun Sentinel.
From a performance standpoint, how would you assess what Chris Greer has done in order for you to say that, his job is satisfactory?
Well, I think if you look at our roster, we have a very fine, I think, an excellent roster of young players. This was all done in the last 3 years. We had a old aging roster before that was leading us nowhere but to mediocrity, and I think that if you look at our roster today, and you see our salary cap and the players we have, I think we're well suited for the future.
Barry Jackson, Miami Herald.
Hi, Stephen. Did you ever end up speaking to Deshaun Watson? I know there was a report that you were granted permission, and do you plan to explore acquiring Watson again this offseason?
I have no plans. It will be up to the head coach in terms of what he does with the quarterback. Tua, as I said before, I have a lot of confidence in Tua, but it's really going to depend who the next head coach is and the direction that he wants to take that position.
Marcel, ESPN. Marcel, we're having trouble hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Stephen, with your comments about the state of this roster's talent level, what more do you think that this roster can accomplish as currently constructed?
Well, I think one, it's the roster, it's the way the organization functions, communicates together, and I think that really is very important in building a winning football team and sustaining that over the long term.
So it sounds like this had as much to do with maybe communication issues or compatibility off the field as it did performance on the field.
Well, I mean, I think, if you look at it, it's really communication and collaboration. And I don't think there's any organization in this country that, unless you have excellent communication and collaborative efforts within the whole organization, that you can really win and sustain yourself in the long term.
Dave Hyde, Sun Sentinel.
Your thoughts on Jim Harbaugh, and do you have a coach in mind as you made this move?
I have no coach in mind at this point. We're going to, do a thorough, review and interview process, and that Jim Harbaugh. I love Jim Harbaugh. He had the opportunity once before to come to the Miami Dolphins, but he's at the University of Michigan, as everybody really knows. I guess that's really one of my that is the school I graduated from, and I'm very involved in it. And I'm not going to be the person who takes Jim Harbaugh from the University of Michigan. I hope he stays there. He is a great coach.
Adam Beasley, Pro Football Network.
Steve, you've hired now 3 head coaches in the past. They've all been career assistants, none have been first-time head coaches. Is having a full first-time head coach, experienced head coach, something that's important to you going forward, or would you consider coordinators?
I mean, we're going to look for the best man. Certainly having the experience always helps. But I'm sure, if we believe we find somebody that's exceptional, that's been a coordinator or in some other position in football, I certainly, would look at that, very seriously. But our mind is open. We're just looking for someone that can work together in taking this roster and taking it to its next level.
South and Dean, USA Today.
Hey, Steve, was there any indications from any players on the roster or even Chris that, players did not want to play for Brian Flores or any other coaches on this staff?
I'm not going to comment upon that. I mean, different people rub people different ways. But, I have to look at it in totality, and everybody has their own opinions. But that was not the reason.
All right, we'll take one more. Armando Salguero, Outkick.
Hi, Steve. You mentioned collaboration a lot during this time. Hired the people that were in place to collaborate. And so I'm wondering what your responsibility for making that collaboration happen and your responsibility for having it fail.
Well, I'll take all responsibility. I am the owner of the team. And if it's not working, it's really up to me. And this is why, we're making a change.
There you go. That is the owner, Stephen Ross, addressing the Meteors. All right, let me go over a couple things, and we'll be at Hialeah Park, by the way, on Thursday. Hanging out, having some fun. Second floor poker room. Come on by. Say hi. He has confidence in Tua, obviously. Now, he did leave it open that it'll be up to the next head coach to make a decision there. But I think he has to kind of say that. But I think that whoever the next head coach is a coach that will understand that, hey, we're going to build around Tua. We have draft picks. We have money. We can do the things that we want. Do you believe in it? And so if philosophically the coach believes in it, then I think that coach is the one that's going to join the Miami Dolphins when it's all said and done. But he did say, he had confidence in Tua and all that, and he believes in Tua, but it'll be up to the next head coach to work with him and make a decision and all that. So he kind of left it open, but don't anticipate any kind of quarterback change. Now, here's why I tell you there's no quarterback change. If you listen to the press conference, when they asked him about Deshaun Watson, he says, I have no plans. It's up to the head coach, he said. Okay? Which means he didn't want to meet with Watson. This was Flo pushing against everybody and wanting to make the move for Watson. It was all Flo. That's what this means. Because by him saying, I have no plans, that he easily could have said, listen, everything is up to Chris and they'll decide on what direction they want to go in and all that. He basically put that out and said that'll be up to the head coach. So that tells me that this whole rift that was going on was Flo saying, hey, we need to go trade for Watson. We need to talk. We need to do this, that. And he was doing anything to get away from Tua. So that's where this divide is. And he kind of told you that there. And then, with Cameron Wolf, we had him on. And remember what Cameron said? Well, Flo was a hard ass the first and the second year, but then I can't believe that in the third year now they reached their pinnacle. Well, if you listen to the press conference, here's where I would disagree with my man Cam. It says, looking at it at 3 years, is what Stephen Ross says. So he's taking inventory about the entire run. So he knows about differences they had in the first year, in the second year, and now this year. So there were a lot of telling statements in that press conference from Stephen Ross. And to me, that's, kind of interesting there because I don't know, but somebody in the media, I don't know who it is, but somebody kept telling people not everybody in the building wants Watson. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who that is. I don't know. But there must have been some information out there. Somebody must have had it right that not everybody wanted Watson. So, again, the reports from Pro Football Talk and all that stuff that it was Stephen Ross that wanted Watson. No, he didn't. It was all Flo, and he told you right there with that comment. I have no plans. That's up to the head coach. He didn't have any plans last year. It was up to the head coach. It was the head coach that was meddling and wanted to go try to cut a deal with a guy that still has all kinds of legal issues. Now, listen, that may turn some of you people on. You may say, okay, fine. The best part is Flores was only going to trade for Watson just to get him killed. Watson gets you, hey, all right, coach, I'm looking forward to working with you. All right, great. All right, here you go. You got no O-line coach, no quarterbacks coach, no offensive coordinator. Have at it, Deshaun. Go ahead. Go save our asses. Oh, man. That is awesome. Justice says, listen, I like Tua. I just don't think he will bring this team as far as we think. Well, that's why we will find out, my friend. We will find out. Okay? They're going to build around him. That's why this whole thing, they didn't draft him to just give up. And I still think bad environments create bad situations. And I think that that's what they've done to Tua Tagovailoa. They created a terrible environment that was really hard for anyone to succeed in. That's all. And the more I think about it, Omar Kelly was right about Fitz saving Flo's ass on some of those wins, basically. That's kind of, you have to assess things. You look at it and you have to then take the information that you're able to gather and then say, okay, were we right? Were we wrong here? You know what I mean? Like, when Ira came on, I thought, okay, this Heat team, experienced and all, they're tough, they're defensive. They can get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now I'm thinking they can get into the NBA Finals and even win it. Why? Because I didn't know Yurtsevin was going to develop this quickly, and Gabe Vincent and Max Struess and Caleb Martin. I'm like, okay, this is badass. Now this team is deep as hell. You know, it's like you reassess the situation because you have more information now. And that's kind of the way I feel about the Heat right now. And this is the way I felt. I like what Flo did the first 2 years, but then you start to reassess everything and the information, and you start to gather it, and you say, Mad Dog, rest in peace. I'll steal your line again. I put it to my nosy. It don't smell so rosy. And I'm glad they made the change. I am glad they made the change, baby. I am glad it was done. But then again, I'm one of the few people that was talking about this being a problem for a long time. And it's nice to see the market moving. Polygon's up to 14, almost 15%. 1476. You kidding me? It's crazy. It's crazy. And by the way, use my link there on Twitter. Okay. The OK Coin link, you'll get $50 free of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is still at a really good bargain right now. It was a little better bargain just a little bit ago, but still at 43, 42 something, that's a pretty damn good bargain for those of you that have never gotten into Bitcoin. Not a financial advisor, just a guy that loves crypto. Isaiah says, Big O, I totally agree with the fact that they should call Jim Caldwell. He has been coaching since 78. I think he's been a major upgrade as a coach and QB. I think he would be fantastic. That would be my first target. As I told you yesterday, I'm a Caldwell guy. I think that would be the perfect. That's a veteran coach that can build a staff. And he can even actually maybe even groom somebody to take over for him too. Classy guy. The media is going to love dealing with him because he's a pro's pro. He'll leave a little meat on the bone for them. He won't be as boring as this last guy and not give you anything whatsoever. I think, and plus, his track record is just awesome. I mean, you got Joe Flacco to go 11 touchdowns and no interceptions. That's impressive. You have 3 winning seasons in Detroit. 2 of them are playoff trips in Detroit. Give that man a 100,000-foot statue in Detroit. Like the fact that they fired Jim Caldwell, that should force them to move the team out of Detroit. Seriously, like the Ford family should be forced to sell the team for firing Jim Caldwell. So for me, that would be the ideal candidate for the Miami Dolphins, as I said yesterday, and I'm sticking to it. All right, let's go to the man, the myth, the legend, that is Alan Poupart. We're going to talk a little Miami Dolphins. You know, we got some news, right? They made a little change yesterday. So the news is big. It was dropped. We will find out if Mr. Poupart was surprised. We will see what he thinks about the future. We'll see what he thinks about the present. Right now, we'll find out about all of that with our Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Insider Report.
Let's get ready to talk Dolphins football. It's the Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Report with Sports Illustrated's Alan Poupart. With locations throughout South Florida, Sports Grill is the home of the special grilled wings. Check out our sponsored locations in Miami on Bird Road and 114th and in Miami Lakes in the Royal Oaks Plaza. Here's Miami Dolphins insider Alan Poupart.
How you feeling, big dog? You feeling good?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I can't complain. All right. So reaction yesterday morning. He's got to get the Spose logo in there. You got to love that. All right.
Pinwheel today.
All right. So news breaks yesterday morning. Your thoughts?
A little bit surprised, not shocked, because
you're on with me every week.
I'm sorry?
I said you're not shocked because you're on with me every week.
That's right, funny. I know you're crushed, by the way. Are you doing okay? Have you recovered from the news? I know you're really upset. Oh, okay.
I toast.
Okay. So,
toast.
obviously,
It was an orgasmic show yesterday.
Oh, I can imagine, dude. I still maintain the guy's a good coach. I'm not sure he's quite like
Not ready. Not
the
ready.
future. No, that's not what I said. No, I think he was absolutely ready. The problem is he's got a very difficult personality. He's abrasive. That's not going to change. That affects his ability to assemble a staff. And since on defense, let's not kid ourselves, it's pretty much his defense. So, and the dude can coach some defense. On offense, he needs guys. And it was turnover, a whole lot of different guys coming in, and he's not able to get like proven established guys because he's not easy to work with. Having said that, I mean, dude, you got to give the man some credit again for getting his guys to buy in, no matter how they felt about him, and never ever giving up when they were 1-7. That's impressive. And even though the streak was accomplished against really poor competition, that's impressive. I know you have a very hard time giving the man any credit.
No, it's just I've seen this before under Adam Gase. They weren't playing for Gase. You know, Alan, I think at times we insult these players because you've had a crappy boss. I've had a crappy boss. That doesn't stop you and me from doing our jobs at the highest level that we know. You know what I mean? So I just think players played hard for themselves, for their incentives, for each other. This complete BS that he kept the team together. This guy's not liked enough. And I've watched this story before, as I've mentioned, whether it's, you know, Tony Sperano, whether it's Saban, whether it's Gase, all these teams all came back with the same kind of streaks that this guy did. And it wasn't because they were playing hard and they love Saban or they love Gase or they love Sperano. Although actually Sperano was liked. Actually, I will say Sperano was liked. Let me not.
And he was a hard ass too.
Yeah, and he was hard. No, but he was a hard ass that knew how to love too. You know what I'm saying? It was
fair.
Tony actually. You know, Tony's rest in peace. He was a really good man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to say that they didn't like him, but in the end, it didn't really mean that the coach was the difference and why they were streaky and why, you know, it's hard for me to give. I'd rather give the players the credit that they're really professionals. I think we go to this extreme of tanking, and we think that out of the 53 guys, that 50 of them are willing to tank, and really the reverse is maybe 1 or 2 or 3 are going to be lazy bastards, but the rest of them, they're going to go out there and play at their best because they're pros.
No, I understand that. And then first, if we're talking about the Dolphins in 2019, it wasn't a tanking, it was a roster reset, basically.
Right.
Basically starting from scratch because none of the players and the coaching staff, they were playing to win. That's why they wound up winning 5 games with a team that should have won.
They barely knew each other. Yeah, no.
Well, the team should have won 1 or 2 games if we're going to go by the town on that team. But again, if you mention, I go back to 2007. If you're going to tell me that the team didn't check out on Cam Cameron in 2007, I'm going to have a hard time believing it.
Oh, no, I was there. I covered that team.
Correct. So they didn't check out on Brian Flores no matter how they felt about it.
The tractor trailer thing destroyed that locker room.
Well, the thing is, they didn't respect him.
Yeah, but they were pissed how he treated Tractor. That was the problem because Tractor was loved in that locker room,
and the players also did not respect him. The players respected Flores, even though they might not have liked him. They respected him, even though they might not have liked him. Yeah. That's right. 2 different things. And the guy can coach defense like crazy. That guy, big time. So having said all that, the origin of your question is basically, it was a little bit surprising because I think he is a good coach. Not shocking in the sense that, there were issues there. And I go back to the inability to build a better offensive coaching staff. No offense to any of those gentlemen, but that's highly problematic. And if you look at those guys, how are we expecting the offense to get that much better? And I know we harp on the offensive line, but how much of the problems in the offensive line is coaching, and how much is talent?
All of it is coaching in my eyes. I think it's all coaching.
I'd say we would coaching.
I think we would find out that 2 or 3 of those guys are actually decent, and then 2 or 3 of those guys aren't good, and they can be backups or something for you. But it's a terrible situation. I just don't think the coaching overall elevated the offense at all. I just Doesn't matter what part of it. QB coach, O-line coach, offensive coordinators. I just don't think they were good enough at the NFL level and to assist this guy. So
what I will say though is that the play calling to me toward the end of the season was good in terms of dealing with all the limitations that they had. Some of them brought on by the fact that they weren't instructing those players well enough.
Right. The owner spoke yesterday. And he talked about looking at it as at 3 years collectively what was going on. So clearly there was some kind of inventory being taken about incidents that constantly went on. Do you know of any of them, by the way?
No, I saw the one. Well, I don't know if we're going to call that an incident, but obviously the Minka situation absolutely is a situation. It was an incident that speaks to a coach not being able to. I remember the word he used, communication, and Jeff Darlington, our buddy from ESPN, suggested the problem was relationships. That's you basically fractured a relationship and wound up throwing away a really, really good player for a first-round pick in a trade that you wouldn't make and you would never want to make. That's one thing. I've seen in a couple of different places, and then an incident with Tua in the Tennessee game where they exchanged words in the locker room.
That was in Dave Hyde's article, and then he went on with a whole bunch of Shula examples, and I'm sitting there going, Dave, Red Fox isn't allowed on stage anymore, and neither is Richard Pryor, bro. You know, it's a whole different world now. Okay, sorry, Don Rickles, you're not allowed on stage anymore. Those kind of, there's certain things there aren't. And by the way, Tua got along with Saban. So clearly there's something wrong with Flores.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, you're damn right. It's a good point. And so that's what I would tell Dave Hyde, that I agree with him 95% of the time, but that column right there, I didn't agree with one freaking word from that column. That was a soft ass column. So that was the old man get off my lawn column. Oh, well, back in my day, Shula used to scream at people and all that. Those days are done, dude. You got to know how to handle people. You got to have, that was, by the way, speaking of Saban, that was his problem at this level.
Correct.
That was his problem.
He kept thinking he was dealing with college students, and the players were like, yo, I'm a man. You don't talk to me like that.
Right.
And
so when Tua says, hey, you got a problem dealing with people, I'm going to lean to Tua instead of Flores, because if Tua didn't have a problem with Saban, and Saban can be a pain in the ass, but obviously the thing that we don't know about Saban, and it does exist, by the way, he's not just an a-hole all the time. He's actually good to his players. If you're doing your job, he's going to show you some love along the way. Believe it or not, he'll joke with you and he'll screw around with you a little bit. There's a lighter side of Saban that we've never seen. Although even last night, dude, he was very cordial and very professional with Kirby and everything. You can tell even he's mellowed out a little bit, even from his time here. You know what I'm saying? So the Hyde thing, I thought, went a little too extreme, bringing in the Shula stuff when this guy played with Saban, dude. Please, come on.
Well, and also we don't know the exact details of what was said. That's number one. Number two is I think part of the equation that wasn't mentioned is Flores isn't Shula, and Flores hasn't shown he can put together a good offense.
And he's not Belichick either.
Correct. And the problem is again, this goes back to that old Patriots tree, is all those guys, they're hard asses and they go other places and they wear on people really fast. Matt Patricia, Bill O'Brien, Josh McDaniels, and
now Flo. And Joe Judge isn't doing anything.
Who for some reason still is the head coach of the New York Giants. Somebody's got to explain that one.
So what you're saying is the best thing was that Vrabel only played for Belichick, but not necessarily was in his tree, because then he would have ended up as a rotten branch also. That's what you're saying.
Well, he's also a 15-year NFL player, so he knows again, he's not that far removed from being a long-time NFL player. And that dude
I'm just having fun. I
hear you. That's
if he I'm just saying, it's funny how that tree just has not worked out, It's like when you look at at like the Walsh tree was amazing. You've had some
Andy
success
Reid tree.
Andy Reid tree, you know what I'm saying? It's weird how that tree is just,
Mm-mm.
man, there's some stankiness around that tree. All right, so before you came on, they were asking me, and I talked a little bit. Caldwell's my guy. That would be my number one target because that's a guy that can build a staff. That's a guy that will delegate. That's a guy that knows offenses, and he's so good with offenses overall and quarterbacks. And he's a great communicator too. On top of all of that, I think you're going to love dealing with him on a daily basis if they hire a guy like that. So do you go in that direction? Do you like him or anybody else of that ilk? Or do we go back to the day balls and the other guys that have never had the opportunity but are the up and coming assistants?
Yeah, correct. And I was thinking about that actually. And because if you go back at the last two hires, they were like the hot shot flavor of the day, Adam Gase and Brian Flores, and neither of them panned out. So for me, not that anybody's going to ask me, but number one, very selfishly, I want somebody who's nice, who's good with the media. I mean, I don't want to have to be pulling teeth all the time. And they're like, there are questions that we could ask. And I'm not asking him because I know I'm not going to get an answer. So it's like, so that aside, but I do think without, removing all the media from the equation, you want somebody who's a little bit better with the media than being so adversarial and guarding everything like it's a state secret. I think they'd be a lot better off go with somebody who's already done it as opposed to the hotshot coordinator who's never been a head coach, who you don't know how they're going to be as a head coach because they've never done it. You don't have anything to go off of. I like Jim Caldwell. That's one guy for all the reasons you mentioned. I like Doug Peterson as another possibility.
Good offensive mind.
Good offensive mind. Experience coaching the RPO. Took a team that won a Super Bowl. Great with the media. That's so selfishly, again, doesn't matter. And another one, I'll give you another one. Todd Bowles is a guy I like. The only thing I don't like about Todd Bowles
is he's a cigar store mannequin, bro.
He doesn't have a great personality, but he's a very that doesn't matter.
No. He has no personality. Don't even say that he has that. Saying that he doesn't have a great personality is already a compliment to him.
But the dude can coach. The dude can coach.
Here, he has the personality of this remote right here.
How about my iPhone? Or does my iPhone have more personality?
No, your iPhone has way more personality than Todd Bowles. Yeah.
But he can coach.
He can. And defense is nasty.
Correct. Nasty. My only concern with him is he's a defensive coach. I personally would prefer an offensive coach.
Yeah.
So
who's your number one target? Like mine is Jim Caldwell. Who's yours?
Doug Peterson would be mine.
Okay.
I think Jim Caldwell would probably be two.
Okay. All right. What are you working on Sports Illustrated to start off this what's going to be an exciting offseason for you guys?
See, what do you think? I did something yesterday. I mean, it's all related to coaching search. Now we've got a couple of interviews set up by the Dolphins with Brian Dable. First of all, number two, Mike McDaniel, the run game coordinator of the 49ers, who interviewed last year for the offensive coordinator position. So that one's a little bit weird to me. And I'm sure there'll be more names trickling out. And our good friend Brian Flores interviewing with the Bears. I'm sure you heard that. And from what I hear, word out of Chicago, he just might be the leading candidate. And get this for a twist.
Knock yourselves out, Chicago.
I told you what you wish for. How's this for a twist? One of the guys they're interviewing for the GM position is Jeff Ireland.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Now, he's great, but can we imagine Jeff Ireland and Brian Flores working together?
No, that won't happen.
Woo!
That won't happen. That won't happen.
That'd be a rough one.
That will not happen. No.
So I also did So I have a whole bunch of questions, and I'm going to present them in writing based on Stephen Ross's press conference yesterday.
By the way, he said he talked about the confidence in Tua, but he kind of left it open that the next head coach will decide and all that stuff. But that's all BS. In the end, they're going to hire somebody that has the same idea that the front office is. Hey, we believe in Tua. We're going to build around him. We have the assets, the money. Let's go get it. Do you agree? And then yes. If you don't agree, I don't think you'll get the job. That's just me.
No, I could see that. But the thing is, Stephen Ross is very, very careful. He wants to put out the perception that I'm a hands-off owner. I don't tell anybody what to do. But now listen to this quote, and you tell me what you make of this. I have all the confidence in the world in Tua, but the next coach, coach, not GM, not Chris, the next coach.
I got a follow up for you. That's going to be really sweet. Go ahead.
He's going to decide the quarterback. So what? So what happened in 2020? Was it the coach who picked the quarterback? Because we know Flores doesn't like Tua.
Right.
So me thinks no, it wasn't. So please explain that one to me.
Oh, well, I think he did. On the Watson, when he was asked, he says, I have no plans. That's up to the coach. So that tells me he had no plans on getting Watson, and neither did Chris Greer. This was all driven by Flo trying to force the issue with Watson because he was not a believer in Tua. That's what that when he says, Watson, I have no plans, that's up to the head coach. He's telling you what just happened this past year. It was the head coach that was coming into my office saying, we got to trade for Watson. And that's where obviously part of the difference he had with the front office too, because the front office going, dude, we have Tua. We got to build with Tua. Well, I don't believe in Tua. We got to trade for Watson. I think this is part of it. And by him saying yesterday, Watson, I have no plans, it's up to the next head coach to decide that. That tells me he left it to the head coach this year. And that's where the Watson stuff came.
Okay, but then based on his comments then, so who picked Tua? Are we supposed to believe that?
Greer. Oh, no,
so Greer picked Tua, but the next coach is going to pick the quarterback because that's what he said. He said, I'm going to let the next, depending on the next coach.
Right. He's going to
makes zero sense, or it's a complete BS CYA.
Well, no, you're right.
Because what I was told is he was hot and heavy after Watson. It wasn't just Flores. Stephen Ross liked Deshaun Watson.
No, I think you're onto it in the sense of, yes, it's up to the next coach. He's leaving it open that way, but I think that decision's already done. He's just telling you that because he has to say that publicly. He can't say, hey, the next coach has to coach Tua. He can't do that. He can't paint that kind of a picture because he doesn't know what the offseason holds. Maybe there is a deal that they can't pass up and they can take advantage of. So he has to leave himself open with that. But he didn't have to tell you that the next quarterback, well, no, that's up to the head coach. He didn't have to say that. So
and if Chris Greer is fully in charge of personnel and Chris Greer drafted Tua, then there should be no question. And Stephen Ross should have said that Tua is our quarterback. That's the guy we picked, and that's the guy we're moving forward with.
While Greer tries to appease his coach and help him and get things that he needs, in this case here, the personnel department wanted Tua. The owner wanted Tua. It was the coach that did not want Tua. Okay? I know what he wanted.
No.
Just can't say it. I know what he wanted.
Correct. He wanted the tall guy with the gun from in California.
No. He did not want that guy. That's a complete lie.
Who do you think he wanted?
No, I don't think. I know. I just cannot say. Okay. I know who he wanted.
Okay.
And if I tell people, you would all jump from the highest bridge in the world. Okay. It had nothing to do with Herbert. All right. My life on the line. Nothing with Herbert. Nobody.
Okay.
He never wanted Herbert. It wasn't Herbert. He didn't want Tua. He didn't want Herbert. He wanted somebody else.
Okay.
It'll come out one day. I'm just saying. I'm not going to be the one to say it, but it's going to come out. And people, I'm glad I got rid of that guy. Just saying. It's going to happen. Anyway. All right.
Anyway, the bottom line is there was a whole lot of double talk,
covering up.
I mean,
because there was a lot of infighting, and they didn't want to talk about it, and they didn't bring it out to the forefront, and people didn't find out till now, or unless they listened to this show and then they heard that he was acting like an asshole the entire time in the building. Then they, those that listen to this show, they found out that what was going on behind the scenes a little bit with Flo. But anyways,
and the other thing too is if you can't get along with Chris Greer, that's
a problem. That's a problem, dude. You can't get along with Tua. Come on, bro.
Well, if you're writing him because he's not performing the way you want him to perform, that's a different thing. But there's a way of you can write him without being.
Hey, in hindsight, we start thinking about the Kenny Stills thing. Kenny Stills is harmless, bro. He's a good dude. He's not a bad person.
Well,
There's
but that was about just calling out the owner publicly. I mean, that's
okay, but fine. But then he shows him up with the Jay-Z music in front of all the teammates.
Because he's also massively.
That's a bad look for the coach. The coach didn't have to stoop to that point. You know what I'm saying? Those are things that he has to cut out, bro. Yes, Shula would never do that. Jimmy Johnson would never do that. Pat Riley would never do that. You know what I'm saying? Real coaches, Spo would never do anything like that. You know what I mean?
Because there's a little bit of insecurity there. And that was basically showing Kenny Stills like,
I'm the man, you're not. Right.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's bull crap.
Yeah.
That's just not. That wasn't good. All right, follow him on Twitter at Poopart NFL. Catch his work at Sports Illustrated. We tell you, man, you got a bookmark it there for the Sports Illustrated Miami Dolphin fans all over the world. And my man Alan is pumping out stories left and right. We will catch you. What's the new schedule? What is it? Thursday, right?
Thursday. Yeah.
Thursday. We'll catch you on Thursday, my brother. Appreciate you as always, Alan. Thank you.
Right back at you, bud.
You got it. There you go. The Sports Grill, Miami Dolphins Insider Report.
This has been the Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Insider Report with Alan Poupart, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and never miss a report. Search Big O Radio Show on most platforms. Visit Sports Grill in our sponsored locations in Miami on Bird Road and 114th and in Miami Lakes in the Royal Oaks Plaza.
Appreciate you all out there. Thank you. Oh, man. That is, I don't know about you guys, but man, Cam Wolf, Manny Navarro, Alan Poupart, Ira Winderman, where the hell are you going to get that? I mean, that's just an all-pro lineup there. 4 great conversations. All right? Not going to get that anywhere. That is some good stuff there. Appreciate all of the contributors, all of our insiders, and our entire family here, all of these guys and everybody else that joins us throughout the week, and obviously Sean and our fantastic sponsors. Love you all out there, man. Thank you. By the way, Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises. Folks, if you are in need of roof repair, a roof inspection, you need to replace the roof, you're buying a home, you want to make sure that roof is in place, you're trying to sell your home, you want to make sure everything's in place, you want to maybe fix something because you want to do it now before hurricane season comes by in a couple of months, please call Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises. And it's really simple, 954-735-9826. Save it on that cell phone, 954-735-9826. They specialize in all kinds of roofs. They've got highly crafted, skilled, and professional roof mechanics. And Tommy B. Butts is a beautiful human being, man. You are going to love dealing with Tommy. Great person, great South Florida guy, big family. He's got like 5 sons. They all listen and watch the show. So please, if you need some roof repair, call Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises. They've been at this for over 25 years. They've got a AAA plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. These are the kind of people that you can trust. The roof is so exceptionally important to your life, right? Protecting your home, your valuables, and obviously your family and your pets. So you got to call people that you can trust. I trust them. You can trust them. Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises.com. Go to the website or call them 954-735-9826. And by the way, each of their previous customers have an opportunity to enter into their biweekly drawing to receive a free exterior impact metal door. So call them for more details. 954-735-9826. Thank you there. Appreciate all of you out there. As always, Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show for Cash App or Venmo. If you want to send in a donation, you can always put the question there in the comment, insult, whatever you want. You are making the donation. Dennis says, Big O, is it true what I'm going to call you? Love your show. Keep up the great job. Okay. true what I'm going to call you. Okay, well, thank you, Dennis. Appreciate you for loving the show. Let's see. Barney O says they should have taken and made the Steeler Nation feel a fraction of what we felt our heroes last game. I'm not sure what's going on here. Media outlets and their talking heads should be held accountable for missing and miscalculations the same way all of us are graded and evaluated. Again, I don't know. I guess you guys are having your own conversations here because I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Rosendo says, what hurts is we swept the Patriots and they made the playoffs and we didn't. Yeah, I know. Right? Kind of sucks. You're right about that. Did you see the Texans coach being asked about his job security? Said he was still the coach as far as he knows. Why, you know something? LOL. Well, I guess they haven't told him they're firing him. And maybe if they, maybe they're waiting for the new general manager to decide if they're going to keep him or not. Big O, let's draft one of the Georgia O linemen and some wide receiving core. Well, just I don't know if I draft another young lineman. I got to be honest with you. I would rather get a good O-line coach to work with the 5 young linemen. I think I'm going to go buy myself or trade, either or. Buy one, trade for one. I want to get veteran established linemen already. Plug them in so you can help the young guys come along. And then the young guys that don't make it to the starting lineup can learn how to play from the experienced starters and learn how to be pros. There needs to be an infusion of leadership into that offensive line. And you have to put people in their place. Only Flores would put Jesse Davis as a starter. The rest of us that have common sense would put Jesse Davis as your sixth man. That's what happens. But when you have crappy coaching that doesn't understand the talent, that's the problem. Renee says, Big O, Dolphins requested to interview Mike McDaniels, OC for the 49ers. My question is, why? And my comment is, please, not again, not another new head C and a proven guy. Dude, just because they're interviewing him doesn't mean they're hiring him. Okay? That's not the case. So they probably want to interview a couple of people because what you do, part of the process is that you're interviewing somebody to also find out who they are. Okay? So now you want to find out what this guy is, and you want to find out where he's at. And if you're a general manager, this is your opportunity to find out about future candidates and where they're at this moment. Okay? So that's why you do things like that. I don't think you're going to hire the guy. I think you're exploring even for the future. So you can kind of find out where this guy is mentally. How does he handle these kind of situations? Is he prepared to be a head coach type? Does he have the connections to put together a staff? All those kind of things. So in a way, this process is you're going to solve the problem of the present, and then you're also now putting irons in the fire for the future. So Mike McDaniel isn't a guy that's going to get hired. He's a guy you're going to find out about him. And then down the line, you never know. So those are the things. Because maybe 3 years from now, 4 years from now, 5 years from now, you need a coach. And you say, hey, we talked to that Mike McDaniel guy. He was pretty well put together. By now, he might be better. Hey, let's go interview him again. And then you'll get a second shot. And then that might become a little bit more realistic. But I don't believe they're going in this direction. I believe they're going in the direction of a veteran coach. But they're going to interview a slew of candidates. But there's going to be different agendas why they're doing it. You're looking at it straight up as a head coach. The general manager and the president are looking at it in different ways. One for the present, another one for the future. That's what this is all about. So you got to kind of slow it down a little bit and don't jump to conclusions that just because they're interviewing this young guy in San Francisco, that's the guy they're going to hire. Not the case. Two Extreme says, Big O, sign the 2 best offensive linemen available and draft a wide receiver, O-line depth players. Get the proven players via free agency that will make an impact instantly for this team in the O-line. Exactly. Dana says, Orlando Brown is my number 1 target in free agency. He played both great at left and right tackle. If you're going to roll with Tua, you could use him on either side of the line. It's not a bad one. It's not a bad player. Caldwell as head coach, Zimmer as DC. Wow. Tremolio. I got to tell you, bro, stay away from crypto and keep talking football. I like that right there. That makes a lot of sense. And you know what? You know what's the best part about having Caldwell as head coach and Zimmer as the defensive coordinator? It's that Zimmer's girlfriend will be here in South Florida. It's about priorities, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? It's about priorities here. I mean, the only good thing about having A.J. Feely as your quarterback was Heather Mitz. I mean, what can I tell you? You know? Cruz Ruiz says, thinking about a bad pick at QB in 2020, is it possible Flo wanted Jacob Eason? Just a connection to Ahmed and Gaskin. Oh, my God, he wanted Eason. I love how people are going to start jumping to conclusions. I'm not going to tell you who he wanted, so don't worry about it. But it wasn't Herbert. That's for sure. Okay? My life on the line, my entire family's life on the line, my 5 dogs' lives are on the line, everybody's lives are on the line. He did not want Herbert. Okay? That's the kind of confidence I have. Oh, by the way, if you don't believe me, I don't know who's kind of been right about all of this. You do your thing, I'll do mine. Flores wanted more power than he already had, is now coming out. Yeah. And he had too much power as it is. Wyatt Duns Matter says, I don't think anybody is feeling more relief than Tua is right now. Yeah, I'm a little bit behind Tua, but yeah, he's got to be number 1. I got to tell you, when I saw that news yesterday, well, I mean, if you saw the open of the show, you know I was in a good mood yesterday, man. I'm still in a good mood. This has lifted me like, wow, this is going to be a fun offseason now. I now have hope for 2022 because I'm telling you, if you brought back Flo, you weren't going to get anything positive out of me. No. I would have to really literally see it to become positive and believe in Flo. That's what would have happened. Okay? There was no way I was going to believe in that clown anymore. I couldn't stand the crap that I was seeing already at this point. Damn, market is flying, baby. V-Chain up 6%, Polkadot up 10.5%, Polygon up almost 16%. Cardano up 6.5%, Ethereum up 6.5%, CKB up 5%, Bitcoin up 3%, Shiba up 4%, Crow up 2.6%. This is crazy, dude. It's awesome. Binance up a little bit, just 2%. Solana, by the way, is climbing 6% up to $142. Solana was at a really good buying price. Avalanche up 8% up to $90. Another great coin that is climbing. I mean, the market is flying right now. I love it. Decentraland back on the move at 6%, just under $3 at $291. Man, it is beautiful, I gotta say. All right. DJ Lloyd says, forget Caldwell. The fact that they haven't set up an interview with him already is very telling. How do you know they haven't set up an interview? I think you forgot that they fired a coach that nobody knew was going to get fired. I think you forgot that this organization let stuff out when they want to let it out. They don't talk to anybody anymore. Okay? So, and he's is Caldwell working for a team right now? I don't think so. Is he? Or is he a free agent? Help me out there, Sean. Look up Jim Caldwell and see, because I'm looking it up myself. But I want to say Jim Caldwell is right now not in the pros, right? Let's see. He is a former pro coach, served as head football coach at Wake Forest. Yeah, I think he's out of work right now completely. So think about this. You don't have to ask a team for permission. So there are no leaks. So if you're just talking between, and there was already a conversation between this team and Caldwell already as it is, between Greer and Caldwell. So, you know what I'm saying? All right. What else do we have here that I wanted to talk about? Flo did have a statement in the release. Let me see. Do we have the Flo statement here? Let me read the Flo statement for you guys. As his ass was going out the door, he released a statement. And he says, I want to thank the Miami Dolphins organization for the opportunity to be the head coach of this team for the last 3 seasons, Flores said. It was an honor to represent the franchise, to lead this group of men. I'm grateful for most of all the players. I'm grateful most of all for the players, coaches, and support staff who gave everything they had on a daily basis to help us win games. They deserve the credit for any success on the field, and it was an honor of a lifetime for me to go work with them every day. I have always believed that leadership really is about service, and I did my best to serve the players, the staff, and the organization every day. I believe this team will always value the relationships my family and I made here. Okay? So there you go. Look, overall, he doesn't look like a bad person. He just doesn't have the skill set to work with people. That's all. That's really the main problem with him. And if he doesn't learn that skill set, he will end up failing once again wherever he goes. And anybody that would hire him right now would be a major mistake. But if they want to do it, they can go ahead and make that mistake. Oh, yeah. Look at it now. 48,892. Yeah. 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 Let's see if it makes it to 43 today. It should. Let's hope so, at least. Let's hope it can. Did you guys see Christina Pink? By the way, did you see that, Sean, what happened to Christina Pink? That poor woman, I got to tell you. I don't know if you guys saw this, but she wiped out. I mean, this I gotta show you this. Like, she wiped out. Damn. Like, how do you fall that hard? That poor woman, dude. Ah, man, that hurts me, dude. That hurt me right there, right? Aren't you in pain right now? Like, Sean, aren't you in pain right now, right? Like, that shit hurt me, dude. Wow. I felt terrible for her, man. And you wonder, like, how did she slip so, like, she must have taken one misstep that it made her slide, and then, bam, she hit hard. She got up. She was all right. You know, she was tough about it, but wow. But, you know, it's one of those, that's one of those moments, and it happens to everybody, right? you fall in public and all that. And dude, you smashed yourself. You hurt yourself. But you get up like, oh, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm good. I'm good. And then that moment that you get away from everybody, oh God, oh man, oh, I screwed up my back, oh my wrist. You acted all cool and collective, and no, it's all. No, I'm good, dude. I'm good. No, it looks worse than it is. It's nothing. And then you get to the bathroom, you're like, oh damn, oh I messed up my ankle. Oh, it's that. That's kind of what it was like for Christina Pink. You just wipe out, and you're hurting. But your ego hurts a lot more at that moment because it's happened in public, and you just want to get up like, oh, no, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. But, dude, you smashed your face into the concrete. No, dude, I'm good. It's nothing, bro. I'm good. You go to the bathroom, and you're spitting out chiclets and all. It's just crazy. So, Nick Saban loses yesterday, 33-18. But all is not lost, right? Because Little Debbie came through. How about that? We baked Nick Saban 2 oatmeal cream pies with an extra portion of love this morning. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Only Nick Saban. That's fantastic. Michael Pulisic says the new coach will be someone noon. No one is no one. I see what you're saying. No, it says noon, but I see what you're saying. No one is mentioning and someone we will be all confused about. Well, maybe not. Some of us weren't confused about Flo on the way out. So I'm just saying, her voice. Oh, one guy, oh, she fell hard. Yeah. She fell hard, man. Thomas says, Big O, if you already know who the next head coach is from your information, be careful because of the Rooney Rule. I didn't say who the next head coach is. I'm just saying this is who I would hire. By the way, it's Jim Caldwell. He's black. The hell are you talking about? The problem would be wrong if I said, hey, Doug Peterson's the next quarterback. Then that text goes, Thomas. But the text doesn't fly. It's Jim Caldwell, bro. And I'm not saying Jim Caldwell is the next head coach. I'm saying that's my target as the next head coach. Okay? Just like, for the draft, I said Javon Holland would be the safety that I would draft. I didn't tell you the Dolphins would draft Javon Holland. 4 years ago, when the season started 4 years ago, I said fire Adam Gase and Mike Tannenbaum and hire Chris Greer as the GM. I'm not telling you that I know something. I'm just telling you. I'm just a good guesser. So I don't, none of this is, I don't gather any information. I'm not a reporter. I don't do those things. I just play radio like they do, locally on QAM or something. I'll just ask you about your favorite ice cream sundae or something. Sprinkles for banana split. That's what this show's all about. So me, I don't know anything, dude. I just guess. That's all I do. I guess. I don't do anything else. I'm just a great guesser. That's what I am. I have no information. Anyway, I think Caldwell's health problems had a lot to do with Flo. He gave him a heart attack. Listen, get me a Caldwell. I know some of you don't like this name. A Jack Del Rio type. Get me a guy like that, and I'm good. I'm good. Those guys will build staffs. They'll get good assistants, and they both have had success. I personally would rather have a Jim Caldwell type instead of Jack Del Rio, but I can with Reggie McKenzie here I can see a Jack Del Rio being in the mix. But Caldwell would be my number one target. Okay. Doug Peterson, I do understand. I do worry about the whole thing about him losing the locker room. You know what I'm saying? But those are all ones that are really interesting. Barney O says it's Caldwell. Big O is literally telling us without telling us. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying I like Jim Caldwell. That's all I'm saying. I don't like Flo. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything. I like Javon Holland. That's all I'm saying. I'm just, I can't tell you. I don't know anything, dude. I don't know. I'm just, I get everything wrong. I just, I'm just lost in my own ways. Big O, are you a prophet? No, sir. No, I am not a prophet. I am just a radio guy that just guesses here all day long. I've been guessing for 30 years. I guessed that Joe Philbin is not a good pick. I guessed that, Ndamukong Suh was a terrible signing. I guessed that, right when you sign Mike Wallace, I tell you it's a mistake. I guess all of these things. I don't really know anything. I just don't. It's just one of those things. I struggle with knowing anything whatsoever in life. So, what can I tell you? The Heat, by the way, are off tonight. Wednesday, they're in Atlanta. The Panthers are taking on the Canucks tonight. Winnable game for the Panthers. So, FLA Live Arena. Okay. What else do we have going on the show? Anything else that I wanted to talk about with you guys here? And by the way, if you have any final questions here to wrap it up, send them in now. If you got a super chat or Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show, send her in right now, and we'll get to your question or comment. All kinds of good stuff there. Thank you all. Appreciate you. Big O, no way we go after Watson after firing of Flo was based on character. I don't think they really wanted Watson in the first place. I think it was all driven by Flo more than anything else. If you want me to be brutally honest with you on that, that's what I think was kind of the problem with all of that, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe they're going after Watson. I believe they're keeping Tua, and that's why they have, a ton of money under the cap. That's why they have a bunch of picks. They'll have the talent that they need to build around Tua, and that way they can be productive and they can go out there and win a bunch of games. I know some of you don't believe in Tua, and I'm sorry for that. And I know some of us do, and time will decide all of this. But I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to use their cap space and their picks to build around their quarterback, and they're going to continue on the plan that they started from the get-go. The difference is they will not have a head coach that is going to disrupt what they're trying to accomplish. And that's what's going on with the Miami Dolphins. All right? All right. Big O, Flo is going to be reunited with Jakeem Grant in Chicago. Well, that means Jakeem. That's a great point. I didn't even think about that. Can you imagine Jakeem Grant going, oh, damn, they're going to interview this asshole? I got to get out of here now. We should bring back Jakeem. Big O, what coaching hire would you make say crap or think it will be a complete failure and won't work from the start? I'm not gonna diss something until I know what it is. So let me know what it is first, and then we'll decide if I'll tell you if I like it or I don't like it. Okay. Big O for running back. Yeah, that would be really productive. You just want me to die right in the middle of the line on the first carry. Miguel Garcia, thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. He says, Big O, what platform do you use to buy and sell crypto? OK Coin is a great platform, man. OK Coin is awesome. I love OK Coin. They're a great sponsor of our program. I've been talking about OK Coin for a while. I have a link on my Twitter page. You can get $50 of free Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's at a pretty good price right now at 43. So if I'm you, OK Coin, download it with my link so you can get the $50 free plus stake, my brother. Okay? You can buy Miami Coin and stake it at 145%. Polygon at 15.49%. Cosmos at 12%. Polkadot at 11.5%. Tron at 8.2%. Algorand 7.9%, almost 8%. Avalanche 7.6%. Cardano just under 6% at 5.8%. Solana at 5.3%. There's a lot of great staking rates. So as you're watching your coin climb, you're also gaining interest in the process. Okay? So take advantage, folks. They got some great staking rates on OK Coin, man. That's one of the things that I absolutely love about OK Coin is their staking rates are awesome. You can make a lot of money. Oh, how can I contact you about sponsorship? Livardo, my text line, 855-912-1056. Email bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. And Twitter, Big O Show, the DMs. So there you go. DMs, Twitter, email bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. The text line, 855-912-1056. All of those things. And our business line also for sponsors only. It's not for anything else, by the way, because sometimes we don't return any phone number, any calls from that. But 786-754-4664 is our business line. That's 786-754-4664. If you're a sponsor, that's really the only reason the line is for. It's for sponsors to call in and they want to be a part of the show. Has nothing to do with anything else, not work, not prizes, not connections, nothing. Everything else is through social media and anything else you want to contact us. But that is our business line for any sponsors that want to be a part of our program. So thank you very much, man, for your interest, Livardo. I appreciate you, my friend. What else do we have here? Yahoo, dude, at least get Google email. Dude, I have everything. I have Yahoo. I have Google. What do you want me to do, my man? You know, I'm now going to get picked on for Yahoo. I like Yahoo email, by the way. So, you know, but it's not a big deal. Let's see. What else do we have here? If the Bengals hired Flores as the head coach, they would be Super Bowl contenders next year. Yeah, sure they would, of course, because their offense would be so lit like it is right now. You're right. You're right. It's funny how you see one track record here, but you expect it to be different somewhere else. He would have destroyed the Bengals wouldn't have made the playoffs because of Flo. Big O, do you have a non-business phone so we can be friends and go hang out and you can be my buddy? You can be my buddy. Go to Sports Grill when we're there. Come on, hang out with us. We've got a couple of things brewing, by the way, that if everything goes well, we're gonna be adding some really interesting features to the show and events that you guys are going to be able to take part in and join us at different sports bars around town. So I'm working on all of that, and that's going to happen. One of them is Canes related, and the other one is Dolphins related. And it's going to be awesome. Awesome. All right. I got to do a little more with Heat, but I got to free up Ira somehow. You know what I mean? One guy says strippers, I hope. No strippers. But you're going to love it. And so if you want to hang out with us, you're going to have plenty of time to hang out with us and have a good time. All right? We're going to have giveaways. We're going to have all kinds of stuff working. We're working, man. We're working. Sean and I are tireless workers at building this whole thing. All right, we're out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Appreciate loaded show, man. Cameron Wolf, Manny Navarro, Alan Poupart, Ira Winderman all joined us today on the program. Appreciate all of those gentlemen as always. Great contributors to the show. Tomorrow, Joe Shad will be joining us at 11:30, and we'll have some other guests also. Thursday, Poupart is back. Friday, we're loaded. Ira Winderman, Manny Navarro, Omar Kelly, and Cameron Wolf. So a lot of the guys that you saw today will be back on Friday. So that'll be a lot of fun. So we are loaded, man. Nobody has better insiders. Nobody has better content. Nobody gives you better insight on your local teams than this program does. So we appreciate all of you. Don't forget to please smash the hell out of the like button. It is very important that you smash the like button. Visit our incredible sponsors. And once again, welcome aboard to Perdomo Cigars. Let me see that Perdomo cigar one more time. Look at that. Look at that 10th anniversary. That thing looks beautiful, bro. So if you're looking for a great cigar, there you go. By the way, have you guys gone to the Perdomo retail store right off of the Palmetto and off of 57th Avenue? That is a badass place. You got to go check it out, okay? Seriously. And say hi to Nick. He's usually there. Nick Jr., all the guys there, man. They are Arthur, they're just great people over there at Perdomo Cigars. You can buy yourself a hat. You can buy yourself a shirt. Yeah, and of course you can get the cigars right there. They got a big, an enormous humidor with every Perdomo cigar that you would love to smoke. They're all there. So if you haven't been to the retail office, check it out, man, and tell them that Big O sent you. They will take care of you. They're good people there. Right off of it's not considered Miami Lakes. I think that's considered still Miami Gardens. So right off of the Palmetto and 57th Avenue, go check out Perdomo Cigars. All right, we will see you tomorrow. Sean Stanley, sir, thank you. Appreciate all of you as always for your amazing support. We love you all. On behalf of everybody on this show, man, thank you so much for your amazing support. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Have a good one.
This is the Big O Show.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
It's the Big O.